now 580 Sports Talk, just getting started on this Wednesday afternoon. Happy hump day to you and yours. I'm Brendan Dworzinski with you in studio in our Huntoon Hill studios on this Wednesday, just after the top of the 3 o'clock hour. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. Just yours truly in the box, flying solo for the time being, but our Spencer Dupuis will be by in just a little bit to complete the duo today. No Dan Lucero, he is on vacation. He will be back from his trip to the American Southeast coming up on Monday. We've got a jam-packed show and a guest-heavy show coming your way today here on 580 Sports Talk. Plenty of Royals to get to. Boys in Blue dropped the opener against the New York Yankees, and it wasn't very pretty for the offense. It was not very pretty for young Noah Cameron. We'll break that one down, get you ready for tonight's second game of the series, Chris Bubich Day. All right, if you are joining us for 580 Sports Talk today and you live outside of the Kansas City Royals main home market, you're in luck. The game will be on MLB Network tonight. If you do live here in Topeka or between here and Kansas City or elsewhere in our beautiful state, you will have to watch it on FanDuel or listen to it here on 580 WIBW tonight. So we'll get you ready for that game, recap last night's game, and some breaking news within the last hour or so. Cole Reagan's back on the injured list. We'll break it all down. Some good news injury-wise for the Royals as well, but obviously that's a tough one for Kansas City. We'll get to all those Royals notes coming up here in just a few moments. Also, coming up today, we're going to introduce a new segment. We're going to see how this one goes. We're workshopping something new. If you've listened to Sports Talk Radio over time, shoot, we used to play buy or sell here on this program. But you've heard of buy or sell or, the stock market game. We're going to mix it up just a little bit. We're doing the sports takes stock market today. So not, are you buying or selling the Royals pitching staff? No, we've got a list of takes we have heard, opinions from the sports media world that we have heard in recent days, recent weeks. We're going to buy or sell takes coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Some funny, some stupid. We're going to get to those coming up to lead off the 4 o'clock hour today. In the 5 o'clock hour, how about a little basketball Jeopardy for you? Late last week, there was a category all about basketball on Jeopardy. And I am going to play the role of Ken Jennings / Alex Trebek, and Spencer is going to be at the podium trying to answer to get points. I've already sent all the clues. I told him not to look. Let's see if he listened. We will get to that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour today. That guest list I mentioned, it's a Wednesday, so that means, of course, bottom of the 4 o'clock hour, Tim Fitzgerald will stop by for this week's Wildcat Wrap-up. Plenty to get to with K-State. And an interesting note on the basketball front in particular, we know that one of the biggest additions, maybe the biggest addition, at least next to PJ Haggerty, for K-State this offseason is Andre Kostic, the Serbian 18-year-old pro. Well, some goings-on at the federal level in the United States right now might make it a little bit difficult for some international players to make it over for this college basketball season. We'll explain what we mean coming up when we chat with Fitz later on in the show today. And what a treat we've got for you guys here in this 3 o'clock hour of the show. We have had a number of folks, plenty of people have reached out either in person, sent in comments on the YouTube, have sent us text messages. Talk about the Scarecrows. We want to hear about Topeka's new hockey team. And I've been saying, hey, hold your horses. We're going to get there. Still a couple months away, a few months away from the start of the hockey season. But today at 3:40, so just past the bottom of this hour, we will be joined here on 580 Sports Talk by Jon Kliment. He is the play-by-play broadcaster for your brand new Topeka Scarecrows inaugural season coming up starting in October. And the play-by-play voice of Topeka's pro hockey team, the Scarecrows, is going to join us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline a little bit later on this hour. Jon, great dude. Have gotten to meet him. Awesome guy, hockey lifer. He's excited to be in Topeka. We know the Scarecrows are too. So we'll talk to Jon coming up just after the bottom of the hour, right about half an hour from now at 3:40 today. We also, of course, will get to our 580 Sports Talk headlines and the playoff roundup in the 5 o'clock hour. Finally get to preview another NBA Finals game. That is coming up tonight, so we'll preview that game. We've got What Is Wrong With You, brought to you by Ryan Mo Winkle, and Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. That at the about 4:25 mark today. And we'll play One Gotta Go this hour as well. And while yours truly is alone in the booth, I would love to know if you have a One Gotta Go submission for today. If you've been sitting on one, you thought of one maybe on a previous Wednesday, damn, I would love to ask One Gotta Go to the guys on 580 Sports Talk. Well, now's your chance. If you've got a One Gotta Go submission, send it in either on the text line 785-272-9429, or you can drop it in the YouTube comments as well. We'll play a little One Gotta Go later on this hour. And we'll get to your texts and your YouTube comments all day, no matter what they're about, One Gotta Go or otherwise. Again, text line number 785-272-9429, or you can find us on YouTube. Just head to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk will be the first result. Subscribe to the channel while you're there and hang out with us in the video stream of the show today. We start things off with the Kansas City Royals, and we're going to start with the big news of the day from the injured list before we get to last night's game, which not a whole lot of fun either for the Kansas City Royals, but KC makes a pair of moves today. The bad. Cole Reagans is going on the 15-day injured list. Retroactive to June 8th. You can only go up to 3 days retroactive. Left rotator cuff strain. Yikes. That is not great. We all sort of knew that something was wrong with Reagans, and I think all of us, even if we didn't want to say it out loud, sort of had the worry that, oh dear, this might be another injury situation. So Reagans is going on the 15-day IL. Trevor Richards has been DFA'd. What was your favorite moment of the Trevor Richards era? Not many to choose from. Last night was certainly better than a couple nights ago when he went out there and stunk up the joint. Last night, in fact, Richards went 2 full innings, struck out a batter, gave up 3 hits, no runs, no walks. 2 innings of scoreless ball lowered his ERA to an even 12. Through just a couple of appearances with the Royals. Not a very memorable stretch for Richards. The flip side, guys that are joining the big league club. Jonathan Bolin, he's been recalled from AAA. And Lucas Erceg returning to the bigs. He has been reinstated from the injured list. That's the good in all of this, to get that arm back in the bullpen. I still am a believer that the best pitcher overall, all things considered, stuff, velo, all of it, best pitcher the Royals have in the bullpen is Lucas Erceg. Even with how good Estevez has been, and that's weakened my take at least a little bit, but I think Erceg is that good. He's your fireman. You need somebody who can be reliable 7th, 8th, maybe even 9th innings with some questions. We'll get to Taylor Clark here in just a moment. Had some questions there outside of Estevez. Big deal for the Royals to get Erceg back. All pumped up about that. That's good. Jonathan Bolin, fine. Reagan's going on the IL is, I don't know about alarming, because again, I think, and I don't mean to speak for you, but I think all of us here on this program, I will speak for both Spencer and Dan, felt like something was pretty clearly wrong the last time he went out, when he only went 2 2/3 innings, returning from his last stint on the injured list. Sounded originally like, oh yeah, he'll be back as soon as humanly possible from the list. Well, then it was a couple days longer. Then he gets back and he just didn't have the stuff. The movement wasn't there. The velocity wasn't there. He got battered around the last time he was out. Clearly something was up, and there are not many injuries. All injuries are bad. All injuries are nasty. I'm not trying to be reductive of other ailments that professional athletes have. But a pitcher with a rotator cuffs are brutal anyway, just for Joe Schmo. For a guy like Cole Reagans, it's got to be as painful as an injury could possibly be, with that violent arm movement. Just nasty. So I don't know if this was something that was already in the works, was already developing before he came back from the injured list for that one start. I don't know if this was overcompensating during his recovery and single rehab start during that last injury. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain. Maybe we'll get a little more clarity from Matt Quattrero coming up later today. All I know is that this is tough for a Royals rotation that has been really good, but its most talented pitcher is Cole Reagans. And if you don't have him available, obviously that is going to put your pitching depth to the test. Now, Jonathan Bolin can give you a couple of innings. Maybe you use him as an opener. Maybe you use him just as longer relief. Maybe he can spot start for you on a bullpen day. Whatever. Hard to say. It's great to still have Michael Lorenzen. And when he went out there and pitched last, oh, wow, he's not going to get sent right to the bullpen. Okay, that's interesting. They still clearly need him. He's going to get to keep starting for as long as Cole Reagans is out. So that is a big deal for the Royals as well. They've got depth with their pitching staff. Cameron had a tough night last night, but I'm not worried about him long-term. Bubic goes tonight. Lugo, Waka, Lorenzen. You can live with that as your 5 for 3 weeks, a month, whatever it is, until Reagans starts to feel better. And again, rotator cuffs are just so nasty. Who knows exactly what the recovery time is going to look like for him? You hope he's back within, 12 days from right now. You talk about going retroactive with the assignment on the IL back to June 8th. Maybe he can come back on the 23rd, 24th. You feel fine. I would imagine it's going to be a little bit longer than that, but still, one way or the other, you're not going to have him. There are plenty of rotations across Major League Baseball that are worse than Lugo, Waka, Bubic, Cameron, Lorenzen. You could do far, far worse if you're the Kansas City Royals. You can live with that. But it is hard, and I'm not reinventing the wheel here, rewriting the Bible. They would rather have their most talented pitcher on the mound more often. And this very likely could be more taxing on the bullpen. There's a lot of things that are going to be factored in here. It just sucks to not have Reagans. He clearly wasn't right. You wish him the best. Hope he is able to return as soon as possible. So that's the big Royals news from earlier today. Royals lost last night 10-2. They got smacked. And look, it was not going to be flawless forever for Noah Cameron. He gives up 6 earned in 5 2/3, 7 hits, 2 home runs allowed, including an Aaron Judge blast that very few players in baseball history have ever been able to replicate. I know there was a shot, 2012 maybe, when Jose Bautista blasted one off the Hall of Fame out in deep left field at Kauffman Stadium. There have been a small handful of home runs that have caromed off the facade of the Hall of Fame in left field at the K, quite like the one Aaron Judge hit last night. I mean, that ball nearly exploded on impact with the bat. And look, we talked about this yesterday. It happens sometimes. You're facing the best player in Major League Baseball right now in Aaron Judge, who just absolutely destroys baseballs. And you're playing against arguably the best offense in all of Major League Baseball. Yankees had 16 hits last night. They're not going to have 16 every single night. Sometimes you get got. Austin Wells had a great game. Jason Dominguez had 3 hits. Looks like he's going to be a pretty darn special player now in his rookie season with them. Trent Grisham went 2 for 4 in the game. Trent Grisham is looking .481 now for the season. Sometimes you get got. And for young pitchers, that's going to happen sometimes. You're facing Aaron Judge for the first time. You're facing this murderer's row of a lineup sometimes. It is what it is. I'm not worried big picture about Noah Cameron because, look, if this is the first time in his admittedly brief career where we've been able to look at the full body of work for an evening and say, yeah, kid didn't have it. Just didn't have it in this game. First time he didn't go at least 6 innings. He got close. I'm not worried. I'm not stressing about that in particular. Now, if he goes out there and in his next 3 starts, it's more of the same and he's given up 5-6 runs an outing in under 6 innings pitched. Okay, yeah, we have to have some conversations about how he's going to be impacting you going forward. But the body of work so far has been far more good than bad, even though the Royals, strangely enough, are 2-4 in games that Cameron has started. Get him run support. Got a 2.17 ERA. Get this man some help. My goodness. More on that here in a second. But I'm not worried much about Noah Cameron. So actually, in fact, let's dive into the offensive struggles for the Royals last night. Again, I don't mean to hand wave and just say, yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal. It's the Yankees. It's Max Fried. It happens. No, the Royals offense sucks. I mean, it's buns. You know that. Again, we talked about that so much yesterday. Again, not reinventing the wheel. That is a bad unit right now. But if you were going to lose any game in this series, losing a game to the, is it fair to say, likely American League Cy Young favorite right now? I haven't checked the odds for Cy Young at the moment. ESPN's got them here. Right now, your favorite to win the Cy Young in the American League, actually, amazingly enough, right now, Tarek Skubal is still first. Not a surprise. Tarek Skubal is absolutely incredible. Max Fried is sixth in odds to win Cy Young right now. That's a little tempting. I'm not going to lie. They have this all backwards. He's fifth. I don't know why he's listed behind Garrett Crochet, who has worst odds. But he is fifth right now, behind his own teammate, Carlos Rodon, for best odds to win the Cy Young at the moment. I would not be super opposed to putting a shekel down on Max Fried with how good he's been. Skubal, again, is absolutely ridiculous, but Max Fried is right there in that conversation. And sometimes you get beaten by good pitchers. I know that sounds kind of hand wavy. I know but you don't want to lose against those guys? No, of course you don't want to lose against those guys. But should we have been surprised? No, I thought this was going to be a low-scoring game. Unfortunately, it was only low-scoring for the boys wearing blue for Kansas City. But it is what it is. You got to bounce back. We talked yesterday on the program about how big of a deal it would be if the Royals could win this series against the Yankees. There's no shame in losing a series to them. They've got the second best record in baseball. They've got arguably the best offense in baseball, as we've been over. So there's no shame in that. But when you talk about the perception of this team, when you talk about team morale, when you talk about the race in the American League Central, which is becoming more and more challenging to catch up in every single day, we'll get to more on that in the stock market coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. It would do wonders for this team to build a little bit of positive momentum. Now, that being said, last night was not that night. Noah Cameron gets got, okay? You have a very favorable pitching matchup coming up tonight with Chris Bubic on the mound against Clark Schmidt, who's fine. Clark Schmidt is not a bad pitcher on the season so far, 2-3, ERA just over 4. Chris Bubic, in my opinion, should be right there next to Tarek Skubal and Max Fried as one of the 3 or 4 shortest odds favorites to win the Cy Young in the American League through today. I mean, we're not even all the way to mid-June at this point. I recognize that. But we all know that's how good Chris Bubic has been over the course of the season. Striking dudes out, not allowing base runners, not allowing runs. He's been the entire enchilada, the whole 9 yards, however you want to phrase it. So you get that opportunity today. And frankly, I think you should feel pretty good if you're the Royals about both today and tomorrow in the series finale against the Yankees with the guys that you're sending out there. Seth Lugo hasn't been as good so far this year as he was a season ago, but all things considered, you've got to feel pretty good every time you send Seth Lugo out on the bump, right? Like, that dude still throws a million different pitches. He's been effective. Again, he was unreal last season. He was an all-star. He had, for the most part, been a reliever all of his career. Royals signed him to the multi-year contract, and he was playing out of his damn mind. Just being, pretty good this year is still pretty good. Don't let the incredible heights and the incredible bar he set last year blind you from the fact that he is still a certainly useful and good starting pitcher. He goes tomorrow against Will Warren, who's got an ERA over 5.34, in fact, going into that matchup tomorrow. Clark Schmidt gave you his numbers. Chris Bubic, he has been phenomenal. This is the biggest test, or the Royals have already faced the Yankees once before this year, now 4 times in total. But this is up there with the biggest tests the Royals are going to face all season with their pitching staff because of Judge and Wells and Grisham and these guys who are just tearing Dominguez, guys who are tearing the cover off the baseball right now. This feels, I don't want to call it a must win because it's June in Major League Baseball, and I don't really believe that must win games exist in June in Major League Baseball. But that being said, again, you want to talk about this would do wonders for you. If you have a chance to win this series against the Yankees, look at the upcoming schedule for this Kansas City team and try to pick out where they're going to build some momentum. Where can they start to put together a little bit of a run? They get the next 2 games against the Yankees. The A's are terrible. The Rangers are a massive disappointment this year. The Rangers record currently sits 3 games under 500, although they have won 3 in a row. You're on the road. Those are winnable. San Diego's tough. Tampa is a team that should be in the group of teams that you are comparable to, right? We said that a lot last year as well in the race right down to the start of the postseason. Tampa Bay is one of those teams right around your same kind of caliber. You've got to at least be able to win a handful of games against a team like that. They're 5 over 500 right now. The Royals, for what it's worth, they are 1 game over 500 at the moment. Those are the series coming up. if you can get a couple against the Yankees, and they are not unstoppable, truly, they are not unbeatable, even though they now have 9 more wins than losses against teams with a 500 record or better this season, they can get got. And with these pitchers on the mound, you can get them. But you've got to get somebody who's going to produce, and you need excellence from your starting rotation. There's no doubt about that. Lugo tomorrow, Bubic tonight. They have to be absolutely fantastic. One other thing I did want to mention, and this is why getting Lucas Erceg back, or one big reason why getting Lucas Erceg back is such a big deal. Taylor Clark's probably not in the trust tree right now, at least not in the true inner circle at this point. Last night was an outlier in terms of all the runs given up, but I think he's truly somewhere in the middle of what he was in his first 8 outings of the season, first 8 1/3 innings of the year when he didn't allow a single run. He's not going to give up 4 runs in 1/3 of an inning going forward. But when you've got a guy who just does not miss bats, and unfortunately Taylor Clark does not miss bats at all, striking out just 16.4% of opposing plate appearances this year, that's not generally going to cut it in Major League Baseball in 2025 unless your stuff is just otherworldly. You're getting a ton of ground balls. It's just not really cutting it. In fact, so far in 12 innings this year, Taylor Clark has just 9 strikeouts. 5 of those came in 2 games in which he went, and one of those he went 2 2/3 innings to get 3 strikeouts. He's just not missing bats. That is something that is worrisome. Lucas Erceg, you bring him in, well, guess what he can do? Miss bats. That is an absolutely massive deal. And hopefully, and last night it wouldn't have mattered. The Royals only scored 2 runs. It was over before Cameron even left the game. But in a situation like that, hey, we've got to keep this close. We've got to stop the bleeding. Someone needs to apply a tourniquet here. Lucas Erceg can and should be that guy. So thank goodness he is back. The Royals desperately need that. One note here from Christopher as well, talking about Noah Cameron and his outing yesterday. Cameron was 1 strike away from retiring Wells in the 4th, reads Christopher's comment on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube. He got that strike too, but the umpire allowed that late timeout. 3 foul balls later, and Wells hits the wall scraper home run. Yeah, that was tough. Listen, all umpires are bad. In the Major League Baseball level, they are just all bad. And that was a screw. I don't want to say it's a screw job. That sounds intentional. The Royals got screwed there. Noah Cameron got screwed there. It's what you got to live with. That's part of Major League Baseball, is sometimes those things happen. And unfortunately, they have way too much power, and it is going to keep happening like that. You know the rules. That does not apply to youth sports, high school sports officials, nothing like that. These dudes are paid big bucks and have a huge spotlight on them. They've got to be better than that. Sucked for the Royals, and unfortunately, they ended up having to bear the brunt of the wrong side of that particular split decision. We want to hear your thoughts on Royals baseball. Big one coming up tonight, Game 2 against the Yankees. Your thoughts on last night's game, send those in. We also want to hear your one gotta go entries for this week. 4 items or 3, either way, all one category. One's got to go. Send them in either on the text line 785-272-9429 or drop them to us on the YouTube feed, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. We'll get to the best ones right after this on 580 Sports Talk. It's time for One Gotta Go, a Wednesday staple here on 580 Sports Talk. Before we get to our entries today, Andrew with a comment on the YouTube feed, which I do agree with wholeheartedly. Would have rather seen Max Fried versus Chris Bubich. Yeah, two MVP or All-Star MVP. They should both be All-Stars. Two Cy Young candidates, though, going head-to-head. That would have been a whole lot of fun. So I'll settle for Chris Bubich versus Clark Schmidt. I'd like the Royals matchup there, pitching-wise. Offense, but I do like the matchup there. As for One Gotta Go, I do feel bad because we had an entry here from Vance in the YouTube. 580 Sports Talk on YouTube is where you can find us. Vance said colas, Coke, Pepsi, RC, or Shasta. Shasta, however you say it. Here's the problem. I don't drink pop, so I can't answer that for you. I will say I have the best memories with RC Cola because there was a pizza place where I grew up, and we used to, at the radio station when I was in high school, we used to always order a gigantic stadium size. That's how they called the biggest pizza, stadium size pizza. And all my friends would get a giant 2-liter of RC for like $1 when you bought the biggest pizza. So we had a lot of pizza parties that featured RC. So that's probably my pick. But I don't drink pop, so I really can't help in that regard, unfortunately. Vance, thank you for the entry. Fortunately, I can't help there. One I've got for you. Brian Wilson died today. One of the legendary members of the Beach Boys, the genius songwriter, musician, fascinating life, real tough life for Brian Wilson, in fact. Released Smile back in 2004. I remember that. We used to listen to the Beach Boys a lot when I was a kid. And then I remember when Smile came out, I was 9, 10 years old, and all the critical acclaim for that. So I'm a big Beach Boys fan. So I'm going to give you 4 songs here, 4 personal favorites. Good Vibrations, Wouldn't It Be Nice, I Get Around, and we will go with, let's do a later one, I guess. Let's go with Surf's Up. The Guardian has that as their second best song of all time, so I'll go with that one. I'm probably going to remove that one, though, just because the others all have kind of a more personal touch for me. Again, we listened to the Beach Boys a lot when I was a kid. Good Vibrations is truly, truly elite. That's one of the greatest pop songs of all time. Wouldn't It Be Nice? That one plays in my head all the time, actually. I love I Get Around. 409 from their early days. Love that one. We listened to a lot, again, when I was a kid, of the early stuff, the real, beachy, teen boy, poppy stuff, Be True to Your School, all those tracks. That's what I listened to a lot when I was a kid. That was, good memories. Very good memories. So rest in peace to the legendary Brian Wilson, because he was the absolute best. A couple quick things from the YouTube comments here. One from Ryan. Do you call it pop or soda? I call it pop. Back east, where they call it soda, I call it pop. And the guy looked at me like I was a serial killer. Yep, pop. It's always been pop for me. For my wife, it's soda, I believe. She lived in the Midwest a little bit. She was a kid, then lived West Coast for a long time, went to school on the West Coast. It's always been pop for me. Also, this from Barbara. I didn't get to this in our first segment talking Royals baseball. Jazz Chisholm, Royals fans, this is a safe space for you. You are welcome to share all of your thoughts about Jazz Chisholm. We may get to the funniest comments, in fact, coming up on the in the final segment of the hour. Because, man, he loves to talk. And we all remember the ALCS from last year and the ALDS from last year. A lot of talk from old Jazz Chisholm. And, man, he just does not ever shut up. So I understand he got caught cursing on camera. What did he say? He was going to slap the bleep out of Michael Garcia? Yeah. You are welcome to share all your thoughts on Jazz Chisholm. I don't necessarily love him. I get why Yankees fans and prior to that, some Marlins fans loved him. Probably one of those guys, you have him, you love him. He plays against you, you hate him. Royals fans, I can understand why you're on the hate side of the fence. I really do. We've got to get to a break. When we come back, we're talking Topeka hockey. That is right. The voice of the Scarecrows, Jon Kliment. He'll join us next on 580 Sports Talk. Just getting started on this Wednesday edition of 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Dworzinski here with you today. Spencer Dupuis will be by in just a little bit. Dan Lucero on vacation this week. He'll be back on Monday. We've got more Royals to get to later on as we get ready for Game 2, Royals versus Yankees tonight here on 580 WIBW. But as I mentioned at the top of the show today, we have had so many folks in recent days and weeks reach out in person, on the text line, on the YouTube feed, and say, please talk more about the new professional sports team of the capital city, the Scarecrows. Hockey is back. Please talk some more hockey. We've been saying, hey, we're going to get there. Season approaches. We're going to talk more hockey. And today we've got a treat for you because joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline is the voice of the Topeka Scarecrows, the new professional hockey team here in Topeka, Kansas. That is Jon Kliment. Jon, thank you so much for taking some time for us today. Let's just start with the easy one, big picture. How excited are you? How excited is this franchise to get professional hockey back in Topeka?
You know, it's been unbelievable since I got here. Everybody is so excited. We've been out at the Evergy Plaza these last couple of Thursday nights and having some fun out there, and it's been unbelievable, the response and the way people are already ordering jerseys. We're almost out of T-shirts already. We've got a few pucks left, but yeah, man, it's great to see. And you know, as a non-resident here, it's been an amazing welcome, and it couldn't ask for a better barn.
And to that point, and, you know, mentioning being out at Evergy Plaza and getting positive reception, when you ended up getting this job, getting the opportunity to come here to Topeka, obviously you heard about the various franchises who have been here in the past, most recently the Pilots before the Hunts moved them to Kansas City. What has the vibe kind of been within the franchise, within the Scarecrows at an organizational level, you know, excitement-wise about bringing it back to a city that loves sports but just hasn't had a professional team of its own stick in a while?
Well, to be honest with you, it's kind of what this league does is it brings hockey back to places where it hasn't been for a while. And the reality of this league is that you know, it's old school, old timey hockey, and it's the kind of hockey that everybody grew up falling in love with in the 90s and the early 2000s with the original Scarecrows and the Tarantulas. And when you see it out there, it's come back to places like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Biloxi, Mississippi, Columbus, Georgia. It's brought hockey back to all these markets that were old school hockey markets where it didn't work. Things fell through for whatever reason, and this has given it a fresh new life, and it gives it an opportunity for people to come out and see hockey at a reasonable rate. So always a good thing too.
This is Jon Kliment joining us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline on 580 Sports Talk, the play-by-play voice of the Topeka Scarecrows, Topeka's brand new hockey franchise, which will start up its season October 16th. Games will be at Landon Arena at the Stormont Vale Events Center. Let's talk a little bit, Jon, about the Federal Prospects Hockey League. And I know that the Scarecrows have been building their roster, expansion draft, dispersal draft, all of those in the last couple of weeks. What is this roster shaping up to look like when you talk about old school hockey, you know, what you grew up with, 90s, 2000s, that brand of the game? What are some of the things with the guys who are coming in who you know are going to be on this roster? What are some of the traits for this team we should expect to see when the season starts?
Well, I'll tell you the best part about going through a summer before a training camp is you don't know who's going to be on the roster. We have selected 23 guys right now. We've got a great coach who's, you know, got NHL experience. He's got AHL experience. He's got ECHL experience. He's won everywhere he's gone. He's had that success. So when he comes out here and is looking to build a team, he's looking to do exactly that. And I've had the experience of working for him for 3 seasons before. In those 3 years, we went to the finals every year. So I'm telling you, it's an exciting time to be looking at the roster. The guys we've drafted and the guys we selected, every one of them is talented. It's not always about talent. Sometimes it's about what fits, what's going to make the team better. And I can almost assure you that this head coach and the staff here are going to be well built and ready to go deep into the season.
And I think it's important to note too, this is not, you know, junior hockey. This is not like a semi-pro team. I keep emphasizing it. This is professional hockey. These are pro-level guys. This is a quality league, Jon. Like, this is not a bunch of schlubs just strapping on skates and getting on the ice. As you've seen, you know, calling games for numerous teams in this league, this is high profile and high-quality hockey.
These are guys with aspirations of getting to higher levels. These are guys who want to play in the ECHL and the AHL, and obviously still have the dream of making it to the NHL. These guys are trying to get out there and put their best foot forward every night because you never know who's in the stands. We're an hour away from Kansas City. We're a couple hours away from Wichita. The reality is those guys are going to be scouting our guys and looking for pieces they can add to their rosters. So we have to have a deep bench. We have to be very proficient on how we're setting this team up and how we can easily keep the momentum going, because I have a feeling we're going to get off to a really good start.
I don't mean to, put down any other markets or franchises or anything like that, but how has the experience so far for you and for this team in Topeka with the reception, the facilities at the event center, et cetera, compared to some of the places you've been before calling games?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't obviously called the game here. I saw where they called games from for the neutral site games. I saw, where will be my home for the next year, but it's going to be interesting. This arena is basically a mini NHL rink, which is so cool for guys who get to come in here, see the, ribbon lighting isn't everywhere. That Jumbotron is beautiful. The seats are right up against the glass, and the people, you can hear them, you can feel them. I could feel all that watching through the tapes. So it's going to be exciting when the puck drops here in October, but people are excited to come here, and I'll tell you, recruiting hasn't been too hard for many of the teams that were here for the neutral site games, and people who have talked to those guys have been itching to come here too. So I'm excited for what's coming, and I think a lot of guys are going to be even more excited when they get in this barn for the first time.
Jon Kliment is our guest. He is the play-by-play voice of the Topeka Scarecrows, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline here on 580 Sports Talk. Scarecrows puck drop October 16th when they start the season. Want to know a little bit more about you, Jon? New to the area, obviously. Inaugural season for the team, your inaugural year here in the capital city and here in Northeast Kansas as well. Tell us a little bit about your experience and your hockey journey. I know you're a hockey lifer. This has been your sport from the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey to get here to Northeast Kansas.
Yeah, I grew up in upstate New York in a little city called Binghamton, about an hour south of Syracuse, an hour north of Scranton, for those of you who are Office fans. And we had the Binghamton Whalers, the Binghamton Rangers, saw the BC Icemen roll in. Then when I was going through high school, Binghamton Senators, a new AHL team, started up. I started working game nights doing merch. Since then, 25 years later, I'm still working in the industry. In the last 10 years, I've been fortunate enough to call hockey for the last 8 as now my full-time job. And the 2 previous to that, I was calling games at the NJCAA, NCAA, and Canadian Women's League levels. So it's been a privilege and a pleasure. And now I'm excited to be here in Topeka. The market's great, the building's great, and honestly, I just couldn't imagine a better spot to get set for hockey season, and we'll see what the winters are like here. So hopefully we'll see some snow and some more winds too as well. That's always a positive.
Hopefully a lot of wins and definitely a lot of wind. You're going to get a lot of that here in Kansas. When you and I met and we were chatting and getting to know each other the other day, you were telling me a great story about getting to see Alex Ovechkin. My co-host Spencer, who's unfortunately not in the studio right now, huge Washington Capitals fan. He's been out there, seen plenty of games. Ovi's his guy. But you have a pretty cool story about when you got to see him as a really young player back in the day.
Yeah, his first year in the league, 2005-06, there right after the lockout year, he was playing down in Washington with the Capitals, and obviously admiring that jersey on your desk there. But they were wearing that Screaming Eagle logo back then, and they had an opportunity to come down and give blood and get 2 free tickets for the night. So went down to Washington, stepped in line, gave blood, and my friend and I went to the game and enjoyed the game for free. Watched him play the New York Islanders, which was somewhat ironic since that's the team he just broke the all-time goal record with. So.
No, that is absolutely awesome. You help a good cause. You get tickets to go see one of the best of all time, even when he was just a pup. That's awesome. Do you have an NHL team around here? Folks who are hockey fans just kind of glom on to, they went and visited St. Louis, went to a Blues game at some point, or all the people who go to KU who are from Chicago, they bring Blackhawks fandom down. Do you have an NHL team? You've been all over the country calling games. I'm sure you've been to a million of them. Is there an NHL team you follow?
Well, this last year I worked with the Bruins scouting organization, so I guess I should give the tip of the cap over to the Bruins organization. Obviously not their best season, but looking forward to seeing what's out there, and obviously working in the industry so long, I've known a bunch of guys. I've seen them progress and make their way up, and it's always a privilege to watch an NHL game. And also, I know Colorado's not too far out. That might have to be a trip I make. I haven't been out to the Pepsi Center, so that's got to be on the list there.
All right, last couple of questions for you here, Jon. Jon Kliment joining us, the play-by-play voice of the Topeka Scarecrows on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. What is the best and what is the worst road trip in the Federal Prospects Hockey League? I know you've made a bunch of them. What's the best? What's the worst one?
Ooh, I think every road trip we're going to have is going to be down there with the worst. There are some long road trips. Everywhere we go is pretty far distance. I don't know. If I was going to say worst, I'd probably say up to Watertown, New York is it's a long trip from everywhere else. It's up in the northern parts of New York, literally 50 miles. You'd hit the Canadian border, and it's a smaller rink. It's a tough rink. There's a screen all around it, so it's hard to call games. So that one's probably my toughest, but they do have the best poutine in the league, so I'm going to give a little shout out to them for that.
Oh,
love
that!
And then
love that. Get some poutine, calling a game. That's your Canadian influence, right?
I mean, hey, you got to love that. And then as far as the best road trip, that's tough. Last year we went to Athens for the first time. That was a lot of fun. I think a lot of people are going to change and say that their favorite road trip is going to be coming here to Topeka. But always going the two-time now back-to-back defending champion Binghamton Black Bears. I mean, that was my home arena, so there's a special twinge when I get a chance to call a game in that barn, because that's my home and where my parents still live. So always a fun one to call a game there. So.
Oh, that is absolutely awesome. Last thing I've got for you, Jon, tickets are on sale now. Season tickets are available now if you want to catch the Topeka Scarecrows in their inaugural season at Landon Arena at the Stormont Vale Event Center. Where can fans go? Where can locals go? If they're trying to get into hockey, they want to get into the Scarecrows, Jon, where can they go to find out about ticket information?
Well, stop on by TopekaScarecrows.com. Right there on our website. All the information's there. First game's October 17th. Check us out right here at the Stormont Vale Event Center. Also, we have a special deal going on if you're following our social media, which is Topeka Professional Hockey on Facebook, Topeka Scarecrows on X, on Blue Sky, on Instagram. Check us out on all those sites. But right now, 4 tickets for $44 for opening night. Get that. That's a flash sale for the Father's Day weekend. So we've got that going on right now. So get yourself 4 tickets to the game for $44. You can't go to the movies for $11 anymore. So check that on out. And again, we've got season tickets on sale now. Great prices, and we're working with everybody right now. We can't wait to see you guys fill the seats, and thank you so much for having me on.
4 for 44. That is a fantastic deal. Jon Kliment, he is the voice of the Topeka Scarecrows, joining us here on 580 Sports Talk on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Jon, welcome to Topeka, man. We're excited to have you here, excited to have the Scarecrows here, and October 17th, it'll be here before we know it. We can't wait.
Thank you.
That is Jon Kliment, the voice of the brand new Topeka Scarecrows. We've got to get to a quick timeout, got to pay a few bills. We'll come on back, wrap up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk right after this. up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Big thanks to Jon Kliment, voice of the Scarecrows, for joining us. October 17th, season opens, the inaugural season for the Topeka Scarecrows. For ticket information, just head to topekascarecrows.com. There's a tickets tab right at the top. Click on that. You'll find the link for season tickets. Dang, I'm fired up. You told us about that sale. 4 tickets for $44. You really can't go to the movies for less than that now. So if you want to go check out the Scarecrows opener, find that information at topekascarecrows.com. So excited to have pro hockey back here in the capital city. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour today, we're going to play the Sports Takes stock market game. What takes from the sports media world are we buying recently, and which ones are we certainly selling? We've got What Is Wrong With You, and of course, the Wildcat Wrap-up. Tim Fitzgerald back from vacation. He'll join us to talk all things K-State athletics, plus your texts and your comments on the YouTube, all coming up in the 4 o'clock hour after the news on 580 WIBW. Sports Talk coming your way. I am Brendan Dworzinski, joined for the remaining 2 hours of the show by Spencer Dupuis. He's in the booth with us. Good to see you, Spence. And thank you for joining us today for 580 Sports Talk as well, whether you are listening on 580 AM, 104.9 FM, online at 580WIBW.com, or checking us out on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel. We thank you for joining us today. Hello to the video viewers. I looked at the right camera this time, by the way.
There you go. Hey, my hat's a little further up so people can see my face
today. Oh,
today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, we had some questions. Is that Spencer in the booth yesterday?
Yeah.
And it was indeed. Yeah, I used to get made fun of. I wear my hat backwards all the time when I wear one, and I used to wear it like really tipped far back. It was a little yarmulke-like, like really tipped far back. People always ask, why do you do that? And it got to a point where I just felt self-conscious that people always asked me about it, so I changed how I wore it.
You just wanted to be gangsta.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that Polish gangster mafia. That real fearsome. Coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk, we've got the Sports Takes stock market game coming up here in just a moment. We'll play a little What Is Wrong With You? 2 new stories going head to head today. And Tim Fitzgerald makes his valiant return to the 580 Sports Talk airwaves. He was off on vacation last week. We spoke to his guy, Ryan Gilbert. Well, Fitz is back this week to talk all things Wildcat athletics. Get some Big 12 thoughts in there as well. It's all coming up here in this 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. We want to hear from you as well. Text line number is 785-272-9429. And you can also find us on YouTube. Head to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk. If you're logged in on your YouTube or Google account, subscribe to the channel, and then you can hang out with us and watch the show all day long. You can rewind if you missed stuff from earlier, watch live, see all the reactions, all that. It's a blast. Come check us out on the YouTube stream. You fired up about hockey coming to the capital city?
Yes, I am excited.
You're the chief hockey guy you're the CHO. You're the chief hockey officer of 580 Sports Talk.
Yes, I'm really excited to get to be able to go watch some hockey like 15 minutes from my house instead of hours upon hours.
I have been to 2 live hockey games in my life. When the Blackhawks were really good, I was dating a girl in high school who, I'll be frank, had money. Her mom and her stepdad had a lot of money, and they were all big Blackhawks fans. So once in a while, they were like, hey, Brendan, you want to go see a Blackhawks game? And we'd sit like 3 rows behind the glass. It was unbelievable. So I'm fired up about hockey coming back. It's been a long time since I've been to a game. Jon Kliment, voice of the Scarecrows, joined us last hour. If you missed any of that conversation, go check out the podcast at 580WIBW.com or find us on Spotify. So easy to find us. Open the app, the desktop app, the Spotify website, whatever it might be. Search 580 Sports Talk. Boom, you'll find us there. Podcast broken down hour by hour, so you never have to miss a moment of 580 Sports Talk. And yeah, I'll emphasize what he told us right at the end of our chat with him, is that you can go over to TopekaScarecrows.com. Check them out on social media. They're doing a flash sale right now. 4 tickets for opening night, $44. That's a hell of a deal.
Wow.
Yeah, super, super excited for hockey to be back in the
I'm going to have to get
city.
me season tickets.
They're pretty affordable, man. Like, if you're a hockey fan, I was just looking at them a little bit earlier when we were talking to John. I'm not trying to tell you what. Also, let me be clear. This is a free ad, I suppose. They're not paying me to say this. I'm just telling you. Seems pretty affordable. If you love hockey, you want to watch pro hockey, it's coming back to Topeka at a pretty reasonable clip.
Hey, you got to show up.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if you're like, I'm so excited they're back. I'm so excited we finally got hockey again, and COVID's not here to kill it. Because from what I understand, that was part of the reason why they were gone the last time that there was hockey here, was that COVID came around and knocked about everything else out that was possible.
Well, and the Hunts were like, hey, why would we keep a team in Topeka when we can just move them to Kansas City?
Yeah, that too. But you got to go. You got to show up.
Gotta go see.
That's how they stay here, is you show up and put butts in the seats.
Yeah, you're gonna have a good time. Hockey is a blast to watch in person.
I'm so happy I got my girlfriend into it this year. So happy.
Is this her first year watching and following along?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like during the playoffs with the Capitals, like by the end of it, she was telling me like, that's an icing.
That's awesome. That's so good. All right. Let's get to a an altered segment. We're going to try this out today. It's the sports takes stock market. So as opposed to the traditional buy or sell game, Patrick Mahomes, is he good, buy or sell? We are going to take some takes, some opinions shared by folks around the sports media world, a lot of them pertaining to our local teams. But we're going to take some opinions from the sports media world that we have heard recently, and we are going to buy and sell the takes. Spencer Dupuis, are you ready for the first edition of the sports takes stock market game?
I'm ready.
All right. Buying or selling? What are you doing? Or holding? What are you doing with this stock? I found this over today at Arrowhead Pride. They were running a poll. Which Chiefs tight end is the best fit or has the best chance to take over Travis Kelce's role in the offense? The answer from voters in that poll, Noah Gray, I believe, had 47% of the vote. You buying or selling that take from the people? Noah Gray is the Chiefs tight end with the best chance to take over Travis Kelce's role.
I'm buying it.
Buying it. All right. Buy.
Although I do have a wild take I would make here.
Oh, all right. Let's hear it. This is the time.
Oh, I gotta make sure I say his name correctly. You know who's going to overtake Travis Kelce after this season?
Are you thinking of Jake Briningstool?
Jake Briningstool.
So
that's my hot take.
I don't think that's completely outlandish, and that's actually why I'm going to go extremely bold here. I don't think it's Noah Gray. Your options, by the way, Noah Gray, Jared Wiley, and Jake, I mispronounced it. It's Briningstool.
Yeah.
Wiley was obviously a third-round draft pick, or was it fourth round last year? Yeah, fourth round out of TCU last year. Had the ACL tear. He's a good athlete, not much of a blocker. Don't really know what he is going to be at this point. I don't think it's necessarily impossible that it's Briningstool or even Wiley for this reason. Remember when Noah Gray got that contract extension last year, and we all thought, whoa, why?
Yeah.
We thought he was going to walk for sure when this past season was over. They gave him real money to stick around, a 3-year contract extension. And we thought, oh, okay, clearly they have big plans for him. I don't know about you, Spencer. I don't really feel like they showed big plans for Noah Gray, because if they had them, and knowing that Travis Kelce is now a plotting Jason Witten-like tight end, don't you think we would have seen some more Noah Gray this past season if they really thought he could fill that role?
To be fair, we did, but that was like in the middle fourth of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then the latter fourth, I feel like Travis really came on.
He did play better down the stretch. You're certainly right about that.
Kind of the first 6 to 8 weeks, we're like, what is going on? Noah Gray kind of filled that void in there, weeks, I want to say 4, 6, and 8 or something. And then we really didn't see Noah Gray. We saw more Travis Kelce.
So Noah Gray played all 17 games this past season. He set a new career high in catches with 437 yards. Those aren't bad numbers for a number 2 tight end by any means. Now, it is probably worth noting in the final 4 games of the season, because he did play and got a target in that mess of a game against the Broncos. Final 4 games of the year against Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, and Denver. And the Houston and Pittsburgh games are obviously important. Noah Gray had a grand total of 5 catches for 38 yards in the final 4 games of the regular season. Okay.
I was wrong. It was the weeks 10 and 11 where he went back-to-back games with 2 touchdowns apiece.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So we had 4 catches, only 23 yards against Buffalo, did have the 2 touchdowns. Then against Carolina, that was a really close game. 4 catches, 66 yards, and had the 2 touchdowns. Those accounted for 4 of his 5 touchdowns for the season. I just feel like we would have seen him already in a more prominent role. And I said this earlier in the week. We were talking about it with Dan on Monday, that you have to find a way to evolve this year and funnel the offense less through Travis Kelce, because he just can't do as many things anymore. And I think we're going to see that evolution over the course of the 2025 season. So maybe it changes, and we do see less of Kelce on the field, even more snaps, 65+% of the snaps for Noah Gray. He does take on a bigger role. And then I'll say, okay, on June 11th, I was wrong. No one is going to replace truly Travis Kelce, but he is going to be the go-to tight end. I just feel like we would have seen more from him at this point. And I like Noah Gray. I think he is a useful player. I like his skill set. He's a good pass catcher. Similar to Wiley, when he came out of Duke, good footwork as a receiver, shaky as a blocker, really good pass catching traits. I like Gray. I would love for him to be that guy. I just don't know that the Chiefs fully believe in him to that degree. Another Chiefs one to get to on the Sports Take stock market. Isaiah Pacheco is the 23rd best running back in the NFL. I got this from Pro Football Focus. They've got positional rankings, a top 32 for every position in the NFL here as we are in mandatory minicamp week around the league. They've got Isaiah Pacheco 23rd. Here's the write-up for Pacheco. He missed a significant chunk of time last season due to the fractured fibula from week 2. He has been a solid player for the Chiefs over the past 3 seasons and is not afraid to lower his shoulder and secure tough yards. His career best Pro Football Focus grade came in 2023, but his yards after contact average has been below 3 in each of the last 2 seasons. That stat right there is significant. The grades or whatever. But that particular stat after contact is sort of alarming to me because isn't his whole thing that he runs you over and he's going to run through you and he runs like he's Godzilla stomping on buildings in Tokyo and he's going to burst through and tear you up? He doesn't actually get that many yards after contact. And 23rd is literally where they had him in the rankings. The guys in front of him, 20 through 22, Alvin Kamara, David Montgomery, Tyler Algier. The guys right behind him, Chase Brown, Najee Harris, Quinshon Judkins, and then Travion Henderson. So a couple rookies who haven't even played so far. I don't know about Tyler Algier. I mean, he's fine. He's an okay player. Guys behind him, though, I like the potential of both Judkins and Henderson, the Ohio State running backs. Ramondre Stevenson, Tyrone Tracy, your boy, Brian Robinson, they're all lower on the list. I might sell this one, too.
Yeah, I'm selling.
I think if you told me, I'm who put this in the rundown in the notes, but if you said he's somewhere between like 22 and 26, I'd probably buy it. I think that's relatively fair. But I think they've got guys listed here that are better talents. Like I'm higher on Ramondre Stevenson, for example, who is an established back. I like Stevenson more than I like Pacheco at this point. Right behind him, also, I missed him, Amarian Hampton, the rookie for the Chargers. I like Hampton a lot. So I might lean Pacheco a little bit lower here. I assumed you were going to sell this one because I'm well aware of your thoughts on Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, I'm about to say something that might be controversial.
Oh!
I think 2 Commanders running backs should be on here before Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay, Brian Robinson, I assume, is one of them.
Who is 31.
And the other one, I guess, is Austin Eckler.
Yeah, who should be like 25.
I would guess.
But
if I had to
Eckler
assume,
gets hurt too much.
Yeah, I would think it's just the age thing with Eckler, and he's been banged up in his career. Oh, he was way better last year than I thought he would be. You heard me say it going into last year. I thought he was cooked. Yeah. And he was actually pretty useful this past season. Yeah, I hope, truly, I hope that Isaiah Pacheco proves me and proves us wrong, and he goes out there and has a great season. The below average yards after contact worries me. Like, that's his entire thing. And if he's not good at it, what exactly is he bringing to the table? I hope I'm wrong. I really, really do. I'm just not sure that I will be. All right, we've got another Chiefs one here. This is utterly ridiculous, and I'm so glad I get to bring it up. Buy or sell, Spencer. Patrick Mahomes is bad in cold weather, and also the Chiefs are a bad team because they did a Hallmark movie. This is an actual thing that has come up on a sports talk program in the state of Michigan. Spence, can I get audio on my computer? We've got to play this take.
You've got audio, sir.
This is preposterous. This is from, and I need to know the name of the host here. I don't want her to get doxxed. Her name is Sarah. She is one of the co-hosts of a program on 100.9 The Mitt in Michigan. I've got to look up who this is exactly. Sarah Stockman. That is her name, okay? And she is a host on 100.9 The Mitt. Here is her explanation for why Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, most overrated quarterback in the league.
Oh.
I'm completely out on him. I'm completely out on the Chiefs. Once they made a Hallmark movie, I was like, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like him. I think Josh Allen's a better quarterback. He's 6'5". He can play in cold weather. And I'm just completely out on Patrick Mahomes. I think he's like he's like the influencer of like NFL. Like I feel like people just like overhype him up, and then that's why they win so many games.
What?
What in the world?
That doesn't make any sense. Also, quick pause. Spencer, this past year, the Chiefs, they did a Hallmark movie. Do you know who is doing one this year?
The Bills.
The Bills. This is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard.
When was this recorded?
This was...
When was this live?
I think this was late last week.
Clearly doesn't keep up on the news.
This is one of the more ridiculous things I have ever heard in my entire life. I'm selling it, by the way.
Oh, I think everyone in the world is.
Also, this is great. This is from Twitter user Taylor Witt, at Taylor_Witt on Twitter. He's also a Chiefs podcast co-host. It's Always Sunny in Chiefs Kingdom is the name of his podcast. She likes Josh Allen because he can, quote, play in cold weather. Patrick Mahomes, since 2018, in games of 25 degrees or colder at kickoff, has the best passer rating in the entire, has the fourth best passer rating in the entire NFL, and Josh Allen is behind him. 258 yards per game, 1.6 touchdowns per game, 0.2 interceptions per game for Patrick Mahomes. He's 8-1 in games of 25 degrees or lower. He has more wins in those cold games than any other player in the league has played games, period. So save the he can't play in the cold weather thing. I had to find a way to get that in here because that's one of the worst takes I've ever heard literally in my entire life.
And obviously, like, if you're going to give a take like that, like, when we had a Hallmark movie, like, at least know what's going on here.
And the other thing, too, if you argue to me right now, June 11th, 2025, I think Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. I will listen to the argument. I'm still putting Mahomes 1, Allen 2, if I'm going to rank the quarterbacks today. But like Josh Allen just won MVP. He had an argument to win MVP the year before. I will listen to your argument. And there are plenty of arguments to make. That is not one of them.
Apparently this chick makes, this woman, makes sports hot takes every week on this show.
Well,
that's like her job.
They suck. Have some integrity, Sarah. Absolutely preposterous. Let's get to another NFL one here, Spencer. I saw this morning from, I believe this was on Get Up. That show sucks. Absolutely sucks.
Bad.
Mike Tannenbaum, former, and emphasis on former, NFL general manager for the New York Jets. They were talking about Aaron Rodgers on the show this morning. Quote, Aaron Rodgers is going to be irrelevant by Thanksgiving, a non-playoff team, a 42-year-old quarterback. Are you buying or selling that take?
Ooh.
That he, and by proxy, the Steelers, will be irrelevant by Thanksgiving.
Look, I don't know, because the Steelers somehow always find a way to be right around 500 and vying for his wild card spot at least.
I'm selling this because, look, Aaron Rodgers is a freak. I used that word the other day, and it's true today and every day. That man is a freak, and he's kind of a jackass, if we're being completely honest with you. Pittsburgh is the team that they're the cockroach of the NFL at this point. You cannot kill them. They are going to finish. They'll probably finish 9-8. Maybe they'll go 10-7. They'll get obliterated by the Chiefs or the Bills in the playoffs, and then we'll do the whole song and dance again next year. But I'm selling this. Pittsburgh is just always around. Andrew on YouTube, he says, I'm selling because Tomlin has yet to miss the playoffs, and that's without Aaron Rodgers. I do think he has a little bit left in the tank. Not a ton. Like, he is not going to be one of the 8 or 9 best players in that team, but I think he's got a little left in the tank. Now, he and Arthur Smith, their OC, might kill each other. That is absolutely possible. I think they're going to be relevant in terms of the playoff race all the way through the season. Now, here we go from Vance. He's selling it on YouTube because he's going with an even stronger take. Rodgers will be irrelevant by Halloween. Can you imagine the narratives if this is the year that it all falls apart for Pittsburgh? they go get the big name quarterback and it finally all falls apart on them. That would be wild. That would be crazy. I don't think it'll happen, but the narratives would be kind of fun to bandy about.
Yeah.
All right, let's abandon the NFL. We got two more quick ones here. From baseball, I've seen this plenty of places. The take is the American League Central race is over. Are you buying or selling that take?
I'm gonna double check the standings before I say something here.
Tigers are well in front.
Yeah,
they are a machine right now. They are currently 8 games up on the Twins, 7 up in the loss column, 9 up in the win column. They've played 68. The Twins have played 66 so far.
I don't think it's over. I'm selling that take. Baseball is a weird sport, folks.
Yep, absolutely.
Some weird things can happen.
What would be... I'm going to buy it. I think I'm out on the Twins. They've been better than I thought they'd be this year, but I was selling them all off season. I don't like the way they've built their team. I don't think that they're especially well managed. I don't think ownership is very good. I don't love their front office. I'm just out. They're the most blasé team I can think of. Guardians, at some point, their devil magic is going to run out. And unfortunately, I think the Royals have dug themselves a little bit too much of a hole. 9.5 back. There's plenty of time. I would be happy to be proven wrong. What would you say is the reason you don't? Well, let me rephrase. Is there a reason you're not buying all the way in on the Tigers, or is it just sometimes, hey, that's baseball?
That's baseball.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I mean, like, we're not even at the break yet.
They do have right now the biggest lead of anybody in Major League Baseball. The Mets and Cubs lead their respective divisions by 5 apiece. Tigers right now up 8 on the Minnesota Twins. All right. One more to get to from college football. We've gone over this take a number of times. Bill Belichick will not coach a single game for the University of North Carolina.
I'm selling that. We've got to this point already. I think it would have happened if it was going to happen.
Buyout drops.
It already dropped June 1.
Was it June 1? Oh, I thought it was July 1. Okay.
No, June 1.
He can get out. If maybe, can you imagine Jordan Hudson, who's like, hey, I'm sick of them being mean to me. I want to leave. I want you to get back in the media game. You don't think that's going to happen?
I thought if it was going to happen, it happened like the first week of June when it was eligible to happen.
Yeah, I think he's
because everything was so loud at that point. All the outside noise was so loud, and the speculation about what could go on at North Carolina and what couldn't go on, that was also loud, but nothing happened. So unless something happens big, like a bomb gets dropped, like a
literally
like a Woj bomb kind of
sure.
thing.
No, I hear you.
Like
a bombshell, yeah.
A bombshell thing happens there, then he's coaching.
Yeah, I'll give you a counter take. I'm gonna sell this one. My counter take, apparently I'm in a recession because I sold most of these. I think it's 1 year. I don't remember how many years are on his deal. I think he coaches 1 season. I think it's 1 year. It becomes too much of a headache for everyone involved. He passes the reins to his kid. So I'm going to give it 1 year, but I do think he coaches this season for North Carolina. That is the Sports Takes stock market game. We've got What Is Wrong With You up next, and then we'll talk to Tim Fitzgerald for the Wildcat Wrap-up here in the 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? Wildcat Wrap-up coming up here in just a few minutes. But first, we've got two new stories in What is Wrong with You, brought to you by our good buddy Ryan Mo Winkle, and Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. Go check out the palatial Mo Winkle Estates over on 29th Street, just east of Gage. All right, Spencer, our current winner for the week. Give me a tip or I empty the clip. The DoorDash driver who didn't get a tip one night went back the next afternoon with his piece, tried to shoot up the place, and he was really drunk, and they took his gun from him. That's our current winner for the week. Let's breeze through these quickly so we can get to Fitz. You are up first, Mr. Dupuis.
Yes, I like to call this one. It's a little play on words because it's not the exact same scenario, but it's Catch a Florida Man If You Can, kind of based off that movie.
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. A Florida man has been a federal jury has convicted a 35-year-old South Florida man who fraudulently booked more than 120 free airline flights by posing as a flight attendant at the U.S. Department of Justice.
Yes,
Tuesday.
Love this.
Tyron Alexander was found guilty on June 5th of wire fraud and unlawfully entering a secure airport area under false pretenses. Prosecutors said he exploited a program intended for airline staff, using it to board 34 flights without paying between 2018 and 2024. According to evidence presented at the trial, he submitted false information through an airline carrier's employee flight booking system. He falsely claimed to be a flight attendant with 7 different airlines, providing roughly 30 fake badge numbers and hire dates. Authorities said he successfully used the system to travel dozens of times at no cost. Jurors also learned that he impersonated a flight attendant on 3 other airline carriers, further expounding the scope of the scheme. He's scheduled to be sentenced August 25th and can face up to 30 years in federal prison.
Love it. No, great. That is a great fraud story. Big fan of that one. That's hysterical. I love that.
Kind of like Catch Me If You Can, but
a little bit.
Not really. I guess today's
a little
version,
dumber.
Yeah, because there's no way you can pull that off.
Oh, man, that's hysterical. All right, my story is also going to take us to Florida, where the athletics director at Florida A&M University was arrested on Monday on multiple felony criminal charges after a months-long investigation by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. 55-year-old Angela Suggs is accused of racking up $24,000 in charges while misusing a business credit card. Now, this one loses a little bit of its luster. When I first saw it, I thought she was stealing money from the school where she was the AD. No, it was actually a previous job. She was the president and CEO of the Florida Sports Foundation, a nonprofit focused on promoting Florida's sports industry, and she stole $24,000. Just a little wire fraud, just a little credit card fraud, just a little bit of that. Again, unfortunately, I read into the details, found a second version of the story. If she had been stealing from the school, maybe a little funnier. Your fraud story wins today. I love it. Stealing flights, faking that you're a flight attendant, hilarious. Very, very funny. So I'm giving that one the nod today. However, I'm going to go with give me the tip or I'll pull out the what was the story? Give me a tip or I empty the clip. I'm going with that one to still win the week.
Yeah, I'll take that one story. As well.
That one's really funny. Shout out to Paul from YouTube who gave that one its name. That is our winner again today. Give me a tip or I empty the clip in What Is Wrong With You, brought to you by our guy Ryan Mo Winkle and Mo Winkle Insurance and Financial Services. Call them up 785-273-1572 or visit them online, RyanMoWinkle.com. Coming up next, Tim Fitzgerald comes back to the show. It's the Wildcat Wrap-up on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Coming up on 580 Sports Talk. Oh, it's always a big Kansas State victory when we are lucky enough to be joined by our good buddy Tim Fitzgerald for the Wildcat Wrap-up here on 580 Sports Talk via the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Fitz is the publisher of GoPowerCat.com and joins us every week here on the program. 1 week sabbatical. Ryan Gilbert did a great job filling in last week. Fitz, what's going on, man? How you been?
I'm good. I am good. I had a recording of Life of Fitz last Wednesday, and it was the only time they could go, so we had to postpone my appearance and let Ryan Gilbert do it. Did he cuss a lot? I bet he cursed a lot.
He was using words, man, that I have never even heard before. I figured they were curses or slurs or something. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, you would never do that. So, yeah.
He goes kicked off the air like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I got a call to my cell from the FCC. It was so bad.
Oh, man. That's him. He's in trouble.
Speaking of Life of Fitz, tell us about some of the latest episodes of the show, Fitz. I caught the one with Scott Pollard, the former Kansas Jayhawk. Awesome conversation. His story, incredible. The two of you going back and forth about, your experiences. Really good stuff. Recommend everyone go check that out. I believe it was Hunter Woodhall who was your most recent guest.
Yeah. The husband of Tara Davis Woodhall, who's an assistant coach at Kansas State. Originally, I was supposed to have them both together, but Tara got torn away. So I had Hunter. He was wonderful. He's a really good dude, and talked about his journey and how he ended up with prosthetic legs and what the running blades did for his entire life. It changed everything. It was really good. It hasn't caught kind of a viewership yet, but man, it's a cool one. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, we're going to make sure everybody go check that out. You can find links to it over at GoPowerCat.com. Of course, where Fitz is the publisher. He and his staff do an incredible job for K-State's 24/7 Sports Network site. All right, Fitz, let's get to it. Let's start on the gridiron today. Some big recruiting weekends for both teams in the state of Kansas, and a couple of players that both K-State and KU are fighting over. One of those is, and I want to make sure I get his last name correct, Braden Botch, the tight end from down in Texas. He's got plenty of interest. Bennett Frazier, the offensive lineman, he commits to K-State earlier today. How are things feeling within the K-State program about their momentum recruiting-wise?
It's really interesting, the path they've chosen this year. They're down in Texas pretty heavily. The latest commit was Missouri. So they're still in the region, but, Kansas has done a really good job in the state of Kansas this year. KU has done. And so it's taken some players off the table. And Kansas State has found a compensation for it, and they're really having a lot of luck down there. And what really stands out to me, though, this was their 5th offensive line commitment. And I think that says an awful lot about, one, the recruiting passion Brian LePack has brought to that job as new offensive line coach, and 2, that he did not like his room. He needed some fresh bodies, and he went out and found them.
Well, I know your guy, Brian Hanley, Big B over there at Go Power Cat. He had a piece that went up it was yesterday morning, I believe, about how important the offensive line has got to be for this program in 2025. I'm a firm believer, even though I look like the polar opposite of any position of offensive lineman, I am a firm believer that you win building from front to back, offense and defense. You build in the trenches. That's how you win. Go look at the Super Bowl if you want proof of that at every single level of football. And to your point, Fitz, and to Big B's point as well, it really feels like this staff is re-emphasizing that. And that feels very K-State to me. That feels like a very positive direction for this program.
I agree. I totally agree. And that was a nice piece by Big B, because he pointed out something we really just didn't talk about much last year. Didn't give it enough time because we were worried about how Avery Johnson's playing, the safeties were playing, maybe the receivers were playing. Offensive line wasn't great last year. It was good, but the tackle struggled, and that left Avery scrambling a lot. There weren't many sacks because the guy's so elusive, but I think it put him into bad positions, and they were really good between the tackles, and that's why they had so much success running DJ Giddens in the middle. But when they got outside, it got a little sketchy, and Brian LePack has gone out and hit the portal. We brought in 4 new dudes that might all see playing time, and now, as I mentioned, 5 recruits for 2026 are already in the class at the offensive line.
Tim Fitzgerald is our guest. He's the publisher of GoPowerCat.com, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Go check out his great stuff, his crew's great stuff over at GoPowerCat.com, also the GoPowerCat YouTube channel. If you're not a VIP, go be one. That's how you get all the best inside scoops into what's going on with K-State athletics before anybody else. Fitz joining us here for the Wildcat Wrap-up on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. What else is this coaching staff, Fitz, looking for in terms of recruiting for next year's class? Are there any position groups? Obviously, offensive line, I would not be surprised if that continues to be a point of emphasis. What else are they looking to add positionally to next year's class?
Well, they've got their quarterback. They want one a year, and they like him quite a bit, Miles Teodecki out of Boston. I think we're going to see an emphasis now on some skill positions. And defensive tackle. I think they know they need a couple defensive tackles, but boy, those are hard to find. So maybe they'll go to the portal for those. But I think we're just going to see a lot of skill guys here. They probably need to freshen up, the running back room because they'll have, Dylan Edwards will be a senior next year. I don't know how that happened in a year. So they probably need to bring in some guys to be ready for the next departures coming up in that position group. But, it's going to be really fun to cover this because we are going to get into a lot of receivers and corners and running backs and tight ends and, kind of more of the headline positions that fans really want to follow.
From players that are prospective Wildcats to guys currently on the roster, you mentioned Avery a few moments ago, and I did want to talk about the star quarterback. And Dan and I were having a conversation the other day about what it's going to take for K-State to get to that next level, to not just be a 9-win team, maybe 10 with the bowl game, have a really good year, but to be a playoff contender, to make it to the college football playoff, maybe to win the Big 12. What's it going to take? And my answer was, I think Avery needs to take that next step. And I know that's like, wow, reinventing the wheel there, but he's already a very good college quarterback. If he makes no changes, he is a really good college football quarterback. I think he's got all the ability, the smarts, everything in the world to be a great college quarterback into a legit NFL prospect. What do you think is the likelihood that he can tap into that next level, like, oh, yeah, the NFL is going to be looking at this guy kind of skill?
Well, he's got to up his completion percentage and kind of display who he is over the whole season. He got dinged up last year, my favorite football term. And really wasn't able to run for about 4 games in a row. They need him to be healthy. He's bigger, stronger, faster. You can tell he's still a young guy. I mean, he's not even 21 yet, and you could tell he's still forming that body that he needs to survive college football. But I agree with you. I think even if he plays the same, he's going to be better. And here's why. I saw a stat, and I wish I remembered who put this on X, that 14% of his catchable passes were dropped last year. And, you just take that percentage and get it to a more manageable number. And all of a sudden he's around 60. And also, that doesn't take into account that the receivers were running wrong routes, not running crisp routes, so he's throwing the ball to a spot that the receiver doesn't arrive at. And they were pretty bad downfield blockers for much of the season until the bowl game kind of woke them up. I think Avery has a lot of room to get better without even actually him getting better. I think the tools around him will be better, but I do believe he's going to show a lot of progress. His problem, and you've seen it, everyone's seen it, once in a while he pulls the trigger when everyone knows don't throw it there, including his own brain, but his arm goes ahead and does it. So he's had a couple of those, had one in the bowl game. He knows that's the thing he's really got to correct quickly.
We've got a few more minutes here with Tim Fitzgerald of GoPowerCat.com joining us on 580 Sports Talk for today's Wildcat Wrap-up on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Go check out GoPowerCat for all the best insight and content as it pertains to Kansas State athletics. I wanted to pivot, Fitz, to basketball here for a moment, and I always preface this when it comes up on the show. I'm not trying to make any sort of political statement here. It's just in the news. There's some reporting out there. I saw it from Amanda Kristovich over at Front Office Sports, that there is some concern among the NCAA membership, the schools, the universities at the Division I level, that there might be some concerns about getting guys who have committed to play in America who are from Europe or elsewhere overseas because the student visa interview process is on hold, that there might be some concerns about guys getting over here on time to start the year. That could certainly change. I'm not trying to say it, it's good, bad, one way or the other, but I am curious if you heard anything about Andre Kostic, who might be the best player on K-State's team next year next to PJ Haggerty. Have you heard anything that might make you think there are some concerns here?
No. And I need to talk to Coach Stang about that, about the timetable for his arrival and another European player.
Yes.
But you know what? These international students are going to be coming to campuses all over the country. And if you don't have anything in your past that would point to you being anti-American or, possibly being a troublemaker, I think you're going to have no problem. I think if you've got some things going on or you're from a country that they're concerned about, you will get a higher level of scrutiny. But a basketball player, if there was a football player, any kind of athlete, I just don't see it, man. I think they're not going to have real problems.
I am with you. And again, I personally think that this is, it's going to work out in the end, but it is fascinating. It is, there's always something new, right? When it comes to the NCAA, and I'm sure there'll be lawsuits if they try to ban any of it. In terms of personnel, are you aware of anything else that K-State is desperately trying to work on right now? I've been calling him Big E Elias, the most recent addition, because I keep botching his last name. Obviously, that's a nice little depth piece for next year. Anything else that K-State is really pounding the pavement for right now on the hardwood trail?
Well, they're at their 13, and they don't plan on using the other 2 scholarships at this time. But they are still keeping their eye out for a big man. They want a big man, another athletic big man, because they really don't have much size. I think that speaks to the brand of basketball they're going to play. But they do want a big man, and they'd massage the roster a little bit. I think everyone would stay. Someone would move off scholarship. We'll see how that plays out. I don't even know if they'll find someone, but they're going to look. They really do feel like they need one more piece of size that will help them, particularly on the defensive end against matchups.
Are you at all, going from K-State specific to just kind of college sports in general, are you at all surprised, Fitz, that Judge Wilkin eventually did pass through the House settlement?
I don't know. I'm so disoriented by the House settlement that I can't wrap my mind around all the silliness that's come out of it. And now we're hearing about Title IX lawsuits already coming because of the settlement. I think we all have House versus NCAA fatigue, and I'm right there, but really important issues going on.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing, and the Title IX stuff is obviously going to make things a lot more difficult. You look at the Big 12 in particular, and all the numbers that are coming out of Texas Tech. I think it was Brandon Marcello over at 24/7 and CBS who had a tweet earlier this week that said Texas Tech is looking like it's going to pay upwards of $55 million to its football roster between rev share and NIL and stuff. And I thought, oh my goodness, that is a gigantic amount of money. But it's certainly possible this might be the only year where you can do that because you got the clearinghouse and everything now. It's overwhelming. I think house fatigue is a good way to put it. And I don't mean to fatigue you even more, Fitz, but it's pertinent. It came out this week. And it's just crazy to me that we can have all this talk about this case and various other lawsuits and legislation for years. This passes, but essentially in approving it, the judge opened it up to, hey, yeah, by the way, you can sue over any part of this. It's crazy. College sports feel like they're more about billable hours than they are about athletes and sports at this point.
Yeah, you're exactly right. What Tech did is brilliant. We all knew by the time that portal opened in this, after the season, that house settlement was coming, and there would be some type of rev share and more difficulty in signing NIL agreements because they're actually going to be NIL, name, image, and likeness, and not just paying players. So they went out there and spent a bunch of money before the rules changed. You're right. This will never be replicated unless you've got a bunch of donors that can, offer NILs that are legitimate at big numbers. I don't know who that would be, and I don't know how what you get paid in an NIL in Kansas for a car dealership versus Southern California for a car dealership, how the clearinghouse is going to handle it. But I think what Tech did is brilliant. Now we've got to find out if it works. If it doesn't work, it could be a disaster for their program. If it does work, they could go deep into the playoffs. They brought in some dudes.
Tim Fitzgerald is the publisher of GoPowerCat.com. It's part of the 24/7 Sports Network. All the best insight into K-State is there. Go be a VIP if you're not already. Fitz joins us every Wednesday at this time for the Wildcat Wrap-up. As always, Fitz, we appreciate the time, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, my friend.
That is the great Tim Fitzgerald. We've got to get to a break. We'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk right after this. Big thanks, as always, to Fitz. Tim Fitzgerald joining us for the Wildcat wrap-up here on the program. Coming up in the final hour of the show today, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Kind of a hodgepodge of headlines today, but there are a lot of them. We'll also get to a playoff roundup, getting ready for Game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight. We'll preview Game 2 between the Royals and Yankees. Chris Bubich toeing the rubber tonight for the boys in blue against Clark Schmidt for New York. And Spencer is going to be our contestant for Basketball Jeopardy. Did you look at the link?
No.
Okay, good. I'm glad. We're going to play Jeopardy, basketball theme, coming up next hour here on 580 Sports Talk. Sports Talk on this Hump Day Wednesday. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. On the other side of the glass, that is the one and only Spencer Dupuis. Thank you for stopping by, listening in, whether it's 580 AM, 104.9 FM, 580WIBW.com, or 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. That is whetting your appetite for sports talk today. We appreciate you spending some of your valuable and limited afternoon hours with us. We've passed the hump, by the way, at least for the majority of the population. Because, it's always, hump day, or at the start of Wednesday, like Wednesday morning, you're not over the hump yet because you're not to the halfway point. Now,
that is true.
If you're working a 9 to 5, well, it's past 5.
Yeah.
You're over the hump. We're more than halfway through the week. So congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. You made it. Good for you. You should celebrate. Do something fun. If you're a dad or you're celebrating your dad later on this weekend, especially do something fun. Maybe come up with a plan for Father's Day. You know who still needs to come up with a plan for Father's Day? Me. Because my wife asked, what do you want to do for Father's Day? And you know what I told her? The same thing I do every Sunday. I want to mow the lawn and listen to the Cubs game. It's what I do every single Sunday. So
she's basically asking, like, where do you want to order food from?
I know, and I'm
like,
so bad at
I feel like that's what she was asking you. Like,
I know.
Where do you want to get food from this weekend?
And she's very sweet and very thoughtful, and I'm just so bad at this stuff. It's the same thing, like, for birthdays or Christmas. Like, oh, what do you want? What kind of gifts do you want? I don't know. Like, it's nice that you even considered getting me something. Like, the thought is enough. I don't know. I'm so bad with these things. I'm not even being a martyr. I'm just bad at it.
I'm so bad at trying to pick gift giving, like picking out a gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's my girlfriend and I's officially second anniversary.
Today?
No, at the end of the month.
Oh, okay.
At the end of July. And I'm just trying to figure out what to do. And like a Taylor Swift summer line dropped today. And I was like, I don't think she would wear any of that stuff.
Here is the tip, and you might already.
So now I'm like, what do I get her?
The tip for me that I have used to great success personally over the course of the year, if there's ever a moment where, oh, that looks nice, or oh, wouldn't that be cool? I'd love to have that. Boom, immediately, phone out, unlocked in the notes app. Here we go.
Yeah.
I write it down. I don't think I'm a bad gift giver by any means. My wife's a really good gift giver. I don't think I'm a bad one, but I don't want to get stuck. It's December 22nd, and I don't have anything. Wish I had written stuff down. So that's my tip for all you men or women out there. I'm not going to just judge or discriminate.
It was funny because my buddy and I were on FaceTime the other night, and he and his girlfriend have their 1 year anniversary today.
Okay,
shout out to Cam and Haley.
Shout out to Cam and Haley.
But his girlfriend was away for the weekend. He's like, dude, look what I got her. And Olivia was sitting right there, and she goes, after we got off the phone, she goes, I don't want a necklace. I don't want that. Like for our, and I'm like, there goes one thing I was going to get her.
Hey, look, on the bright
side.
But
it's good because she told me.
There you go. At least now you won't give it to her and get oh yeah, that's nice. So there you go. Silver lining.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. If you've got anything you want to contribute to the program, hit us up on the text line 785-272-9429, or you can drop us a line in the YouTube comment section. Head over to YouTube, search 580 Sports Talk. You can watch along with the show today. Thanks for everyone who has done that or texted in to the program this afternoon. Big day of 580 Sports Talk headlines coming up here in just a moment. We're going to quiz Spencer on basketball Jeopardy. There was a basketball category last Thursday, I believe it was. I've been saving this for today. We're going to see if Spencer can run the rack in the Jeopardy basketball category. And of course, we will preview Royals versus Yankees tonight. We'll get to your texts and your YouTube comments as well.
I will say, I was telling you on off break that I've been seeing, like, Jeopardy is putting out all their category, like the little snippets of their categories, but they're putting it down so you get everyone in the category. So it's it's a little like Gen Z's like, hey, we can get this little like snippet of information. You get a minute and a half, and it's just all the answers to the questions in the row.
I know. I had to check to make sure Spencer hadn't already seen these.
Yeah, but I definitely hadn't. But I feel better about myself because I've been doing these things with my girlfriend. Yeah. Like, we're sitting on the couch, and it's like, oh, let's play. All right. Oh, got that. Oh, don't know what that is. Oh, got that one.
I used to, when I had time and not now, I used to pull up because when you skip through the commercials, you can get through a Jeopardy in like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Or less, because I always skip the dumbass interviews. You can get through it in like 18 minutes or so. I used to, before the show, if I had 20 minutes free, I'd watch an episode to get my mental acuity all in shape and ready to go for the show. I can't do that anymore. And if I've slumped since, now you know why. All right, we've got a ton of headlines to get to today, Spencer, so let's dive right on in. Man, there are a lot of them. Let's start with this one from KSHB in Kansas City, Channel 41. The Missouri House has passed a stadium funding proposal. The bill is now headed to the governor's desk. Passing the bill was one goal of Missouri's special legislative session. This is from Charlie Keegan of KSHB. Missouri leaders believe they're one step closer to keeping the Chiefs and Royals in the state. The Missouri House of Representatives passed legislation this afternoon by a vote of 90-58 to help pay for Chiefs and Royals stadium projects during a special legislative session. Governor Mike Kehoe posted on Twitter, I applaud the General Assembly for their efforts this special session to assist Missourians in crisis, provide tax relief, and invest in Missouri's future. That's the part about the Chiefs. I look forward to seeing this legislation on my desk very soon. The Chiefs also thanked the Missouri legislature. The passing of this legislation is an important piece of the overall effort. While there's still work to be done, this legislation enables the Chiefs to continue exploring potential options to consider remaining in Missouri. The Royals added, now that the bill is headed to the governor's desk, we look forward to evaluating the plan in full detail. Our focus remains the same, to prioritize the best interests of our team, fans, partners, and regional community as we pursue the next generational home for the Kansas City Royals. Quentin Lucas also released a statement thanking officials for getting it done, and we assume keeping the Chiefs and Royals in Missouri. I had a feeling early in this process it was possible Kansas could get one of the teams. Within the last few weeks, I have swung very much to the other side, and no, I don't think it's going to happen. This, Spencer, I think pretty much guarantees that they're going to stay on the Missouri side of the border.
Yeah, I think there was nothing being done in last year. At this point, what was like maybe like a month prior, nothing had been done, and people were like, there was like a one of those crowdfunding thing, or not crowdfunding, but crowdsourcing. Like, hey, let's get the Chiefs or the Royals to Kansas because they look like they need a new stadium, maybe. And then Kansas legislators was like, yeah, let's throw star bonds at it. And then they didn't really know what they were getting into because the star bonds don't really make sense if you ever read into them.
Yeah, I'm not shocked, all things considered. I thought Kansas had put together a decently sweet deal for one or both of the teams if they had wanted to come over, build a stadium in Gardner or Wyandotte County or wherever the heck it would have been. Here's your silver lining if you are a Kansan who was desperately hoping the teams would come over the border. One, nothing changes. Like you're right back where you were. The teams are still going to play in Jackson County or even Clay County, but they'll be still in Kansas City. And secondly, any sort of tax implications for residents of the state of Kansas aren't going to change. So there's your silver lining for it. Whereas you live in Missouri, oh boy, I think you are probably going to be feeling that to one degree or another. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not trying to politicize it at all. I'm just saying I'm sure you're going to feel it one way or the other.
But it's okay because you can go to the stadiums pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's positive.
Yeah. Good for them. All right, Spencer, what's your first headline of the day?
Yeah, we're going to talk about, once again, Naja Kennedy as she came off of her College World Series runner-up performance last week. The Texas Tech junior was named the Honda Sport Award winner for softball for the second straight year. The announcement was made today by Chris Volez, by Chris Volez, the executive director of the Collegiate Women's Sports Award. It was selected after a nationwide vote of 1,000 NCAA member schools. The other finalists were Jody Ball, who I believe won the Women's College Softball Player of the Year award this year. From Nebraska, yep. Bree Ellis from Arkansas, and Carolyn Pickens from Tennessee. Obviously, we know what she did this year, but at the end of the season, she led the nation in wins with 34. After the final game, unfortunately, her ERA jumped a bunch, but not too much. She ranked second nationally ERA with a 1.11 ERA and second in strikeouts with 319. The Honda Sports Award has been presented annually by the CWSA for the past 49 years to the top women's sports athletes in 12 NCAA sanctioned sports. So once again, getting recognition for what she does great, and that's play softball.
Star, just an absolute mega superstar without question. And she's an awesome person, and she's a very smart student, and she's just the best. I'm very happy for her. That is an incredible list of finalists.
Yes, and also they have a 2025 Honda Cup, which will be presented during a live telecast on CBS Sports Network on June 30th at 6 p.m. She's going up against Jordan Bowers, Oklahoma Gymnastic, Paige Beckers, UConn Basketball, Gretchen Walsh, Virginia Swimming, Olivia Babcock, Pittsburgh Volleyball, Maddie Zimmer, Northwestern Field Hockey, Kate Fassey, North Carolina Soccer, Doris Lemongol, Alabama Cross Country, and Darja Vinmanova, Georgia Tennis for the Honda Sport Award.
I hope she wins it.
Yeah.
I hope she wins it. All right, next headline for me today. Man, we've got a whole smorgasbord of these. All right, I'm going to go to some college basketball here, and I'm mad. John Rothstein has gotten some scoops from CBS Sports, College Basketball Today, all his various outlets. He posted them on Twitter today. Some scheduling scoops. Source, according to John Rothstein, Kansas basketball will play Arizona, Iowa State, and in-state rival Kansas State twice in Big 12 play during the 25-26 season. So with the Big 12 schedule dropping back to 18 games, there are even fewer home and homes for everybody. Most teams are only going to play everybody else once, with a few exceptions, obviously this being one of them. Kansas State, yes, obviously you play the Sunflower Showdown, the history of the rivalry, all that good. Iowa State, great, yes. Those two teams, KU and Iowa State, really KU, K-State, and Iowa State, should all play each other in every sport, home and home. Well, not in football, but you know what I mean. Should all play each other every single year. K-State and Iowa State should be playing in football every single year. Obviously, it's ridiculous in a couple of years they're not going to. Those three schools should always play each other the maximum number of times possible. I've got no problem with that. I've got a problem with Arizona. I understand the fact that you want your biggest brand of the newcomers in Arizona taking on the biggest brand of the old guard in Kansas. I understand all of that. However, you had an opportunity to get the top two freshmen in the country, according to every prospect ranking. Some have Darren Peterson number 1, AJ Dybanson number 2. Some have it vice versa. The NBA draft boards have them 1, 2 in some order for pretty much everybody. You had a chance to have those two superstars face each other twice, and you just decided to throw it away. Ridiculous. Ridiculously bad decision.
To the NCAA, or to the Big 12.
Big 12. You don't you want those two facing off as much as possible?
Oh, yeah.
I hate this. I hate this so much. Very, very, very much do not like this. Should have been Dybanson versus Peterson twice, with a chance at a third in the Big 12 tournament. Instead, crap. And crap. Arizona is a major brand, and that's a big-time opponent. But come on. Do not like that one bit. What do you got next for us?
Yes, we talked about the House settlement yesterday, getting the approval. We talked to Fitz about it earlier. Group of women's athletes have filed an appeal of the House versus NCAA settlement approval because of Title IX rights that they were granted when Title IX was put into women's sports in college. The statute requires educational institutions to offer equitable opportunities, including in sports. So are they going to make as much money? And that's, I think, where the big ticker is there.
Yeah, I saw something earlier today that made it sound like football is going to get the lion's share of everything. Yeah. Men's basketball will get a much smaller amount, but the second biggest of anyone. And the remaining 10 to 15% of everybody's revenue sharing budget is going to get split among everybody else. Look, man, this is a disaster. We're just asking for it. And again, I have no problem with the athletes getting paid. I have no problem with it being revenue sharing. None of that bothers me. We as Americans spend countless hours and billions of dollars, and the TV networks spend tons of money to watch these athletes on TV. I have no problem with any of that. What I have a problem with is the NCAA being stupid, being ridiculous for decades, if not literally a century at this point, and not finding a way to usher in an era that wasn't going to include a billion lawsuits. Instead, it took forever to get to this point, and now we're just going to have more lawsuits that are going to bog it down, and more people are going to jump in, and it's just going to be a mess. It is going to be an absolute mess. This is not good for anybody. I really do believe the more legislation, I said it to Fitz, and he agreed with me, and I really do believe this. It feels like college sports are more about boardrooms and billable hours than they are about sports at this point, and that is really disappointing to me. Really, really disappointing. This is not going to be the first one. There might be multiple Title IX lawsuits. There are going to be lawsuits over the NIL clearinghouse thing. There are going to be lawsuits about everything. I'd much rather be in a position where we can actually talk about the teams and the games and all that, but instead we have to get to all of this. I'm certain we're going to get more and more and more lawsuits over the course of time.
Mark, yeah, I mean, we had way more and more over the past 3 or 4 months.
Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous. Mark B on YouTube says the NCAA will botch this. We all know that. Yeah, they will. This is going to be a mess. They're going to lose in court because they always lose in court. Although, as we have now found out at the federal level, there is more support. We talked about that yesterday on the show. So now things swung so far in one direction, favoring athlete movement and payment and all that. Now it feels like our legislation, again, not a political comment, just reading the news, is swinging back the other way and is going to grant more leeway to the NCAA. Former, elected politician Charlie Baker is the president of the NCAA right now. Not surprising there. It's just such a mess. This could have been solved 50 years ago. It really could have. But instead, they dragged their feet for decades and decades and decades, had to be dragged kicking and screaming into this. You don't want Congress involved. That's
No.
just a fact of life. You generally don't want Congress to get involved in things. And as soon as they did, you knew it was going to be a cluster. And that is exactly what this has turned into for the NCAA. Let's get to the NFL, shall we? Let's go to a couple NFL headlines for today. One, this was posted on Blue Sky and Twitter by our guy, Matt Derrick. We'll talk to Matt coming up bottom of the 3 o'clock hour on Friday. Patrick Mahomes finished the year at number 2 in the NFLPA's ranking of merchandise sales. Since becoming the Chiefs' starting quarterback, he has ranked in the top 5 every year. That is the last 7 seasons. They've got the top 20 ranked. Here's the few that are notable at the top. Number 1, Saquon Barkley. I'm not surprised. They won the Super Bowl. He was their best player, and he moved to a new team. A team that is obsessive.
And he had that amazing jump.
Yes, I'm sure there's all sorts of merch out there, signed lithographs of that. Yeah.
Fanatics does. It's not great because they always get messed up, but they have picture perfect moments.
Yeah.
And for the Commanders, you can buy it of the Hail Mary catch and everything, but they have that on the picture perfect moments. So I'm pretty sure that sold a bunch.
Yeah, I'm sure they sold tons and tons and tons of those. Patrick Mahomes comes in number 2. Jalen Hurts third. Again, quarterback of the team that won the Super Bowl. I get it. Your boy, Jaden Daniels, number 4. Also, you want to talk about a fan base that has been dying to have someone to support? Oh, yeah. Easy call there. CJ Stroud comes in 5th. Josh Allen 6th. Travis Kelce 11th. You all surprised by that?
No, because people are still riding the Taylor Travis high.
Yeah, they are. Other notable ones, Jordan Love, Packers quarterback, he comes in 12th. Caleb Williams, last year, rookie quarterback, he was 13th. I'm surprised Caleb wasn't higher, to be honest with you. Bears fans, understandably, bought in all the way on him. I'm a little surprised he didn't come in any higher. Christian McCaffrey, 15th. Brock Purdy, 19th. Lamar Jackson, 18th. Joe Burrow, 14th in merchandise sales. This is great. So, by the way, the other Chief, there were 3 Chiefs in the top 50 of merchandise sales. Matt did the digging on this. The third highest, number 46 in the NFL, Isaiah Pacheco. That's strange. That is very odd.
He was in the NFL marketing campaigns last year.
I suppose that's true. For international stuff, right?
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
He's Puerto Rican, I believe.
I believe. Yeah, I didn't know off the top of my head. I just remember there's a commercial where he's running around with the flag on his back.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he's definitely.
So I would assume that led to the jump.
Yeah, so he's from New Jersey, but he is of Puerto Rican descent. Puerto Rican from his dad, African-American from his mom's side. So, yeah, no, you're right about that. So that might have been a big influence as well. Also this from Matt. While Saquon Barkley was ranked number 1 in jersey sales, obviously, Mahomes was number 1 in several categories, including posters, children's apparel. I believe that. I've been outdoors in Kansas City. I believe that.
Yeah.
Fatheads. Do you know people still bought fatheads?
I haven't thought about fatheads since I was like 12 years old.
Long time. Bobbleheads, collectible figures, and squishy toys. I assume that means stuffed animals. That's what my guess would be for squishy toys. So that is your merchandising update, Patrick. People love Mahomes. You can say what you want. People love Patrick Mahomes. Also, this just broke within the last hour from the NFL. Another team in the AFC West trying to shore up their defense at least a little bit. From Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports, former Bengals linebacker Jermaine Pratt is signing a 1-year deal worth up to $4.78 million with the Las Vegas Raiders. I think this is a good signing for the Raiders. We talked about it with Matt Verderame earlier this week. Jermaine Pratt wasn't great this past season, but he has had a good career. I think he is still a good player. And the Raiders need talent on the defensive side of the ball so badly. They're taking a few different flyers. Devin White, the former Buccaneer and Texan. Now you throw in Jermaine Pratt, Landon Roberts, formerly of the Steelers and the Patriots. They signed Jalen Smith, man. He's got drop foot. Literally has drop foot. And they signed him looking for help at linebacker. Pratt is better than, Landon Roberts is a good player. Pratt is better than Devin White, and he's better than Jalen Smith, though. So I don't think this is a total needle mover, but it takes them from really bad to just like normal bad, which is a big step up. So he is going to face the Chiefs twice this year.
Yeah. So they missed out on getting one of their head coach's best buddies, Bobby Wagner.
That's true. He's still with your Commanders.
Yeah.
Did he re-sign this year, or was he on a 2-year deal?
No, he signed a 1-year extension.
Okay.
Before his contract officially went up.
He probably didn't deserve to be an All-Pro last year, but again, kind of similar to the Raiders situation, although the Commanders were in a slightly better spot because Dan Quinn's a great defensive coach. Sometimes, like, just going from crap to not crap is a big deal. We talk about that a lot on this show. That's what the Raiders are trying to do here. And for Bobby Wagner, the point I was going to make, he is far better than just not crap. Again, not the player he was at his peak with the Seahawks, but he was a good steadying force to the defense. And I'm sure the Raiders are hoping Jermaine Pratt can be that. Any other headlines for you before we go to the playoff roundup?
One more little quick hitter. College Game Day announced they're going to open the 2025 season with a week 1 trip to Ohio State to celebrate legendary analyst Lee Corso's final show.
It will be Ohio State versus Florida State, a battle of the first team he ever did the headgear pick for, Ohio State, Kirk Herbstreit's alma mater, and his own alma mater.
Yeah.
He went to Florida State, the Sunshine Scooter.
Yeah.
This is pretty cool. He's going to put the Brutus head on, right? He has to.
So is that week 1 or is that week 0?
That, I believe, is week 1.
So do you think they're going to go to Dublin for week 0?
Yes, they are. I am about 99% certain of that.
Cool.
That they are indeed going to go there. Also, I was wrong. I thought it was Florida State they were playing. They're playing Texas. I thought it was Ohio State versus Florida State. It's Ohio State, Texas. Florida State also plays that week.
Texas is the one that's mad. Or Texas was the one that didn't allow them to change it.
Right. Yeah, because Ohio State wanted to move it to Sunday. Texas said no. Yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm sorry. Florida State also plays. That was one of the games that was in consideration for the final game day of Lee Corso's career. I love Lee Corso. I know he's not the same anymore. He's lost the fastball, unfortunately. I mean, he is older, obviously. He had the stroke a few years ago. I will always love Lee Corso. He will always be a legend to me. All right, with that, Spencer Dupuis, that does it for our headlines. So how about we get to a quick NBA Finals edition of the Playoff Roundup?
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk Playoff Roundup.
All right, Playoff Roundup time. One game tonight. It is the NBA Finals, Game 3. Indiana Pacers, for the first time in over 9,100 days, are going to host a game of the NBA Finals. They are tied at 1 game apiece with the Oklahoma City Thunder. we all picked the Thunder. Did we all take the Thunder in 5? I think we did.
No,
Did you say 6?
I think, did you and I, Dan picked 6.
Dan said 6. I picked 5.
Yeah, I picked 5. Too.
Yeah, I still believe that. The Pacers are fun. They're a blast to watch. I still think the Thunder are the better team, and I'm going to take the Thunder in this game tonight. I just think they have too much. Oh, we talked about this the last time they played. Everything, in fact, I think this is going into game 1, which, of course, the Pacers ended up winning. The things that the Pacers do well, play with pace. They don't turn the ball over. They score in transition. Oklahoma City has been better playing with pace. They've turned the ball over fewer times, and they score more in transition than the Pacers do. So all the things the Pacers are great at, the Thunder have done even better over the course of the year. They haven't even shot the 3 all that well. They did a decent job of it in game 2. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been awesome. He right now, if the playoffs ended today, he would have set the record for points per game in a championship playoff run. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
He has more points through the first 2 games than anyone else in NBA Finals history, passing the record set by Allen Iverson back in, was that 2001, I believe it was? And AI had passed Michael Jordan from MJ's illustrious career. Shai is on an incredible run. I am going to go Thunder 114 to 110 tonight.
I'll go Thunder 108, 100.
There are too many points in the NBA.
That's why
Give me 90
I don't
scores.
like the NBA because of this.
89 to 80 would be a high-scoring game. I've said this before, and it sounds kind of ridiculous to say this out loud. There is something that takes away in the regulars. I think the playoffs have been a lot of fun. I've watched a lot of playoff NBA this year. During the regular season, I think guys are too good at making shots. I genuinely believe that. And like it takes away, like, okay, yeah, every 7-footer can shoot threes. Everybody can make every single mid-range shot. Every open shot is made. It's disorienting a little bit. And these guys are incredible athletes, incredible talents, but I don't know. I prefer the college game personally. The playoffs have been a lot of fun. That game is coming up tonight. I believe it is a 7 o'clock. 7:30 is scheduled tip. They'll probably tip
7:45.
7:45. Yeah, exactly. That does it for the playoff roundup. Let's get to a commercial break. And when we come back, there was a Jeopardy category about basketball last week. I'm going to play Ken Jennings. Spencer's going to play the contestant. We'll see how he does playing basketball Jeopardy coming up on 580 Sports Talk. 537 on 580 Sports Talk. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. That's Spencer Dupuis. We'll preview tonight's Royals-Yankees game coming up in just a little bit. 6 o'clock pregame start time on the Royals Radio Network. We'll send you over to Steve Stewart as soon as we are done with 580 Sports Talk today. Last week, I believe this was last Thursday. Yes, it was. Thursday, June 5th. And I've been saving this ever since. There was a basketball category on Jeopardy. And I've been saving it because I knew Dan wasn't going to be here. I've been saving this to test Spencer's Jeopardy ability. What's your game show of choice, out of curiosity?
I don't know. I don't really watch game shows.
A game show guy?
Not a big game show.
Jeopardy's mine.
I will say you've got the correct sport to probably stump me.
See, that's what I was thinking, because I know you like college basketball.
Yes.
There's some college flavor to this.
Okay.
Not an NBA guy. There's definitely some NBA flavor to this. I'm curious here. Were you ever as a kid a Wizards fan?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I went to a couple games, John Wall era. John Wall drove me in.
John Wall was so sick.
Yeah, his rookie year, his second, third year, and then Bradley Beal comes in, and you're like, this is gonna be like they're building like what the Capitals have. Yeah. And then
Bradley Beal's mom wanted him to go to KU.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I gotta leave. Because he's from St. Louis. By the way, someone on the writing team at Jeopardy is definitely a basketball fan, or at least a college basketball fan. This category is called the winning shot. The next category was called onions, like Bill Raftery. So love that. All right, Spencer, are you ready to play a little basketball Jeopardy?
Yes.
All right, $200 question. No bull yet as a freshman on a team that also featured James Worthy at North Carolina. This man hit the NCAA title-winning shot to beat Georgetown in 1982.
Do I have to say what is?
Yes.
What is Michael Jordan?
Or you could say who is.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, you can say who. Yeah.
Who is Michael Jordan?
Correct. 200 points for Spencer Dupuis.
Whoa.
$200, I should say. All right, your $400 clue. A true warrior, he hit a 38-foot game winner versus Oklahoma City in 2016 and seal the win versus France with the Golden Dagger at the 2024 Olympics.
Who is Stephen Curry?
Correct. Wardell Stephen Curry. Another $400 for Spencer. $600. This clue. You can double your money if you get it right. Hail to the victors valiant. In 1989, Romeo Robinson hit 2 free throws to win an NCAA title for this Big Ten school.
Who won a title? Michigan State?
Dang.
Dang.
No. Michigan.
Oh.
Wrong school from the mitten. $600 clue. You had 600. You are left with 0. You have nothing. Absolutely nothing. $800. You can win it all back and more. Kawhi Leonard hit the shot to 86 the 76ers in Game 7 of the 2019 Eastern Conference Semis for this north of the border team.
Toronto Raptors.
Time's running. You didn't answer it the correct way.
Oh, who is the Toronto Raptors?
Correct. $800 for Spencer.
Sorry.
All right. One more to go. $1,000. This star of Romanian heritage hit from near the center court logo to put the New York Liberty up a game in the 2024 WNBA Finals.
What's her nationality?
Romanian.
Oh, I can never say her. Who is Sabrina Can't say her I. Sabrina I.
This category was in the basic Jeopardy round, so we're going to allow that. Double Jeopardy, they wouldn't give you that. Okay. I will give you Sabrina Ionescu.
Yeah, I've never been able to say her name. She has a line of shoes. I know that.
They're kind of cool. I kind of like her shoes.
Yeah.
She and Asia Wilson both have really cool shoes that I'm not like a sneakerhead. I have a few pairs of Jordan 1s, but I like both their shoes. Anyway, yes, Sabrina Ionescu, who, by the way, had the Oregon Duck at her wedding.
That's sick.
Stood up and danced at her wedding. Yeah,
I saw something on X the other day. You can hire the Oregon Duck.
Yeah, for like $1,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
pricey.
It'd be $600 for a 15-minute appearance.
All right. So while we are doing this, I want to ask you, have you ever seen the clip when Alex Trebek was thankfully still with us, where Alex Trebek made fun of an entire group of contestants because they couldn't get NFL questions right?
No.
Okay. I need you. We're going to play another round here. We're going to do football Jeopardy.
Okay.
Okay. This category was called.
This is Google Pixel.
I can, yeah. Thank you. No free ads. Keep that down. All right. So we're going to go through this category. This is from 7 years ago, I believe. All right.
Okay.
Football. We're doing football Jeopardy now. You at home can play along as well. All right. So football category. We're going 200 to 1,000. First one, 200. Your choice. Do this or don't name. I'm sorry. Do or don't name this play in which the QB runs the ball and can choose to pitch it to another back.
What is an option play?
Correctamundo, Spencer. You had, what was it, 1,800 from the last round, so now you're up to $2,000
Okay.
on Sports Jeopardy today. Well done. All right, our next one in Talkin' Football. Tom Landry perfected the shotgun formation with this team.
Who is the Dallas Cowboys?
You are correct, Spencer Dupuis, on fire, $2,400. All right. For $600. By signaling for one of these, a returner can reel in a kick without fear of getting tackled.
What is a fair catch?
What is a fair catch? You are on fire, my friend. $3,000 for Spencer Dupuis. For $800. These penalties are simultaneous violations by the offense and defense that cancel each other out.
What is an offsetting penalty?
$4,000 on the board for Spencer. Now we get to the $1,000 clue. This was, I believe, a video category. If we can get the volume back, I'm going to let the clue crew help you out here for $1,000. Oh, hold on. I muted my website as well momentarily. Here we go.
As Minneapolis's U.S. Bank Stadium prepares to host Super Bowl 52, I'm looking at the Ring of Honor with names from this defensive line that took the Vikings to 4 Super Bowls.
The nickname of the Vikings' famous defensive line from the 1970s.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're going to let the time expire?
Yeah.
3,000 still. The Purple People Eaters.
Yeah, I didn't know.
You didn't know that?
No. That was one thing I did not know.
Yeah, a little football history for you. I'm going to do one more while we're on this. Yeah, that was a good category for you. 4 to 5. Good category. And you went, what? You went 4 to 5 in the basketball category, too.
Yeah, I just missed Michigan. I
okay,
think.
There we go. This one was on Jeopardy just a couple of weeks ago. So I need to, yes, just 3 weeks ago. All right. So the category, let's mute this again. NFL geography is the category.
Okay.
You've got $3,000. How much would you like to wager? This was a final Jeopardy question.
Ooh, I'll wager 2,500.
2,500. Okay. It's the state with the lowest population density that is home to an NFL team. Lowest population density that's home to an NFL team. Can't play the music.
What is Las Vegas, Nevada?
Spencer Dupuis got it right. Look at that. Tack on another 2,500 for Spencer. $5,500 in Sports Jeopardy today. Well done.
That took some thinking of like what state is their team in where there's not a lot of metropolitan areas.
Yeah, when I first watched that episode, I was thinking Wisconsin possibly, but Wisconsin doesn't have a ton of land area. And then the music finished and Ken said it's one of the newest teams, or a few years ago, this would have been a different answer is what he said.
Yeah.
So it had to be someone who moved. Well done. Excellent work, Spencer. 9 of 11, including Final Jeopardy today.
Let's go. I wish I could actually win that amount of money, though. I'd love to take home that amount today.
We're going to get to a quick commercial break. We'll preview game 2 between the Royals and Yankees right after this on 580 Sports Talk. Final few minutes of 580 Sports Talk today. I'm Brendan, that's Spencer. The YouTube comments knew the Purple People Eaters. Mark B got that one right. Also, and he adds this, I knew this already. Were you aware that Alan Page of the Purple People Eaters would go on to be on the Supreme Court in Minnesota?
Did not know that.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken as well, that is not the only former NFL player that would go on to have a Supreme Court job. Byron Whizzer White was on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Wow.
Pretty interesting fact for you. Thank you guys for participating along in Sports Jeopardy. Good work by Spencer today. Really, really well done. I wanted to dig through the archives, find some more of those. They don't do sports on Jeopardy.
I was
very
in
much.
the right state for one of them that I missed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You almost got it. Got the rival. All right, Royals, Yankees, game 2 tonight. Pregame starts here in just about 10 minutes on the Royals Radio Network. First pitch, just past the bottom of the hour today. Chris Bubich versus Clark Schmidt. I was talking about this a little bit earlier, Spencer. I'm not worried about Noah Cameron. I mean, young pitcher, rookie, faced Aaron Judge and gave up a big home run and faced the best offense in baseball. Had a struggle-some game.
Look,
it's whatever.
Look, he's not he's not your highly touted prospect, first of all, right? Like, he is not your guy that's supposed to go out there and be the next Steven Strasburg or something.
No, he is definitely
he's a homegrown organization guy. And
outperformed expectations.
Outperformed expectations, but it's baseball. Any given game, sometimes that's how the ball rolls. You have a bad game.
It happens.
If that's the worst game of his career, then he has a great career.
I'm not. No, exactly. That's a great point and great start to his career. If that's the first time we can say, oh, man, he really doesn't have it today. I'm right there with you. Chris Bubich today. There is nobody right now in all of baseball, maybe Skubal and Skeens, maybe not even Max Fried. I'm not sure any team would rather have anybody else take the mound, needing a win, needing a bit of a morale booster. No one you would rather have right now than Chris Bubich, who has been awesome. He's been a better pitcher this year than who the Yankees are going to put on the mound tonight in Clark Schmidt. Obviously, that does not necessarily guarantee you are going to win, but it's got to help the Royals. I don't believe in must-win games, really, in baseball in general, unless you literally must win to keep your season alive. I think football is a little different. I think basketball can be a little different. I don't really believe in that for baseball when you've got 162 of them, especially in early June. That being said, for morale, for momentum, for perception from the fan base and the media, etc., I do think this is a golden opportunity for the Royals to reverse the narrative a little bit. You've got a winnable series coming up over the weekend against the A's. Not the toughest stretch of schedule, the Rangers and the A's coming up. You've got some winnable games. You can build some momentum here. I think the win tonight would go a long way toward getting to a place where you can feel pretty good about where this team is heading. But you got to get it done tonight first. And again, would you rather have anyone else out there than Chris Bubich right now if you're the Royals?
Nope.
No.
He's the guy.
Do you feel the same way that this, not a must win, but it feels like a kind of a turning point game almost that you can really kind of flip the switch if you get it done tonight?
Yeah, and to go back to a conversation we had on five, to be pretty quick, I'll be pretty quick here, but to go back to a conversation I believe you talked about yesterday during segment number 2 of the 3:00 hour. If yesterday you let Noah Cameron go 7 innings or 6 innings, whatever, however
5
long,
2/3, yeah.
5 2/3,
well into the 6th.
go back out for the 6th after what happened. You got to let Chris Bubich do the same tonight if he struggles too.
Yeah,
like your leash is. That's the only place where I'm questioning is like your philosophy of the third time through the order, but also like you just did this to this guy. And
no, I hear you. I'm right there with you. And look, I think it is a positive that Matt Quattrero has so much faith in Noah Cameron. Like, that's great. And knowing that he can be a 6+ inning guy every time, pretty much, awesome. Great. We don't have enough of those guys in baseball anymore. I'm cool with that. But it was strange because the last time out, he got pulled too early. Then last night he struggled and they left him well into the 6th inning. It was just kind of, I'm just looking for the rhyme and reason, I guess, for when Matt Quattrero pulls guys.
That's what I want to know.
By the way, one real quick news from Major League Baseball from the AL Central, significant for the best team in baseball right now. Jackson Jobe, Tigers, out for the year. He's got to have Tommy John surgery.
See what?
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Baseball's a long season.
We have to get to one final commercial break. We'll pay these bills. We'll come on back, wrap up 580 Sports Talk with today's final word. Time to wrap up 580 Sports Talk. It is final word time. Real quick, tomorrow on the show, Rick Peterson is going to join us. Plenty of Royals baseball to get to. Some more goodies along the way as well from 3 until 6. Spencer Dupuis, right now, quick final word.
Yeah, Cags last night was a bright spot. You had him in right field, and then you gave Vinny the night off. And he played, or excuse me, Salvi the rest of the night off, and he had a web gem there at first. And guess what? He earns the start at first tonight. Let's go. Hopefully a win with Chris Bubich on the bump for the Royals tonight.
Yeah, final word for me today. Bummer last night because you were hoping with the fun pitching matchup and with how good Noah Cameron has been that you're going to get, wow, what a great start to this series. Maybe you can steal game one against their ace. And it didn't work out that way. I am not fretting a bad start for Noah Cameron at all, though. He still gets you into the 6th inning. A young pitcher. He's a rookie. And like Spencer said, he's not, Paul Skeens as a prospect. He's already outperformed expectations. If it's going to be once every 7 starts that we say, oh, man, that was a tough one, I think Noah Cameron is going to be just fine this season and for a long time in his career. We are back tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Don't forget to check out the podcast either on Spotify or at 580WIBW.com. And make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Head to youtube.com and search 580 Sports Talk. Until next time, though, for Spencer Dupuis, this is Brendan Wrzinski. Talk to you tomorrow right back here on 580 Sports Talk.